Yes, today's topic is very interesting because we keep getting mails from our members, especially risky exporters, notices that come by to exporters, apart from the other investigations that he will cover. Mr. Tulsian is from Tulsian and Company, and many of you would know the name. He will cover most of the topics that are of concern to our exporters, and I will request our regional chairman, Mr. Yogesh Gupta, to kindly initiate the session with his opening remarks.
Thank you, Devlata. I think this is quite loud. Can you reduce the volume a little bit? Well, welcome to our new office of FIEO, Eastern Region. This was long overdue. In fact, 30 years we have been in that old premises, which was very small, and now we have done this up. We are waiting for some dates of our head office people so that we can have an inaugural party also. So we'll call all the members. So maybe after election we'll do that. I'm very thankful to Ishan Tulsian, who has come over to give us some insight on the ever-changing GST Act. In fact, from 2017 till today, I would rather say that we may have got over 1 lakh changes in the GST Act. So this is very, very baffling for all of us, for all citizens of India. Even though GST is a very good act, it has made our life easier. But the frequent changes have been a real problem for all of us, because as businessmen or as entrepreneurs, we will not be able to keep track of what is happening and what changes is happening on every other day. In fact, in quite a few meetings with CPIC and other people, I also tell them that if ever you come out with changes, please do not come out with changes with immediate effect. Give us 1 month's time to get used to it. So although they understand the problem, but then they also have their own set of problems and they can't really do that. And he being a practicing chartered accountant, I will also urge him that in his deliberation with the department, they should say that all changes should not be retrospective, it should be prospective. You should give us 30 days time to get used to it and get to know it and understand it. Now, this investigations have also started in GST, and that is also an area that we also have an appellate authority now where we can appeal our cases, which was not there earlier. So, in this from 2017 and 24, it's about 7 years' time, we are facing a lot of GST related issues. It has been resolved to quite a big extent, but then there are still many things. Now, these audits, investigations, and maybe after the election you will also see some more investigations happening on the road, which you should be prepared, because that is what exactly GST is all about. And I'm sure Ishan will cover all these topics and what as an exporter we should do so as not to get into those unnecessary traps. We are not saying that we are doing anything wrong, but we are making mistakes. Those mistakes need to be covered and protect ourselves. That's what Ishan is all about today. And welcome, Ishan. And we'll have a question-answer session.
Sure.
And a risky exporter.
Sure. We'll elaborate that towards the end.
Thank you, Ishan.
Thank you.
So, welcome each and every one of you to FIEO Eastern Region, and thank you for taking out your precious time from your busy schedule on a Wednesday afternoon. Obviously, it's a working day, and all of us, we've come here to enrich our knowledge about GST investigations, the recent developments, and the procedural safeguards. मुद्दा का बात है हम लोग खुद का बचाव कैसे करेंगे as exporters during arrest provisions, during search and seizure, during summons, during risky these exporters tag. What should we do? What is expected out of us? I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and respects to the torchbearers at FIEO, Mr. Yogesh Gupta ji, the regional chairman, as well as Ma'am Devdatta Nandwani ji, the regional head at FIEO Eastern Region, for having invited me over here today for the deliberation. Okay, so let us go ahead. I have tried to make this deck as comprehensive as possible. So this is basically a 3-4 hour session which I usually take. I'm trying to put it in half the time. But the deck, I have put more than 200, 300 case laws. I have put all analysis of recent guidelines regarding GST investigation, how to safeguard ourselves, which we will go through. We will try to cover as much as possible. So this is in brief what we are going to cover today. I hope this is visible. So we are going to first, just a moment.
Switch off few lights.
Yeah, sir. I think that will be more prominent there if you switch off this. Is it better now? Is it visible better? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So what we are going to understand is GST investigations from the point of view of summon proceedings. Summon proceedings matlab kya hua? We get a summons notice. We are expected to attend and give statements which are admitted as evidence in the court of law. What should be our conduct, do's and don'ts, how should we, what are the frequent cases which come out, what is our legal safeguard? You will understand that. We will not only talk theory, we will go through practical case laws, we will go through practical walkthrough of real life summon notices. Cases क्या है जहाँ पर हमारे पास में आए दिन summons notices आती है, how do we reply to those? We will also discuss the burning issues, such as investigation, search and seize raid has happened at our premise. We are asked behind closed doors with the threat of arrest to deposit 25 crores, 25 lakhs. We pay that in the guise of voluntary payment under section 73.5, 74.5. But those are not voluntary payments. Those are forceful payments. So what is the legality of those? So many hundreds of case laws are coming. Recent guidelines have come. Extremely important safeguards. आज अगर we will go back to our office, our home, we should understand and learn कि बचाव कैसे करें. That is the main मुद्दा, right? Then after that we will discuss the legality of parallel proceedings. Sir, then we are seeing anti-evasion wing has sent some show cause notice. Your audit department has sent some letter of audit, departmental audit under section 65. DGGI has sent some summons proceeding. Multiple investigating agencies have issued separate proceedings on the same or separate subject matters for the same taxpayer or for the same tax period. What is the legality of that? We will also discuss the latest CBIC guidelines which have been issued on 30th of March 2024, 2 months ago, which is instruction number 1 2023-24. We shall also discuss about the arrest and bail provisions. Sir, everyone is scared the most of arrests. In what conditions under GST Act can we be arrested? We may be knowing criminal procedure code, but under what conditions? What are the specified offences? What are the monetary limits? How do we apply bails? What are the legal safeguards? Also, we shall discuss about the risky exporters tax, which is extremely relevant for us. And there are several other things which we are going to mention and discuss. Let us move ahead. See, GST investigation, as I told you, GST investigation is a very wide term. What is GST investigation? There are several powers entrusted to the proper officer. First being, as I mentioned, summon proceedings. There is some particular evidence which I have attained through some investigation. I want to corroborate that by calling a witness, calling the main accused, calling the bank person, calling the CA who may have some relevant information. I want that person to come forward, tender statements, record it. We will discuss what summons are. Then there is power to arrest. If there are certain monetary limits which have been exceeded, GST evasion, fraudulent input tax credit claiming, for certain specified offences, we can be arrested also. We will discuss that in detail. There is the power to raid, inspect, search, seize. There is power to stop your lorry, inspect, issue an MOV1, MOV2, MOV3, MOV5 order, and we can check the particular ingredients, whether it's matching with the e-way bill, whether e-way bill has been issued. So power to inspect goods in movement. All of those things, right? Now, from the perspective, from the point of view of summons, who can issue? Can we challenge the jurisdictional power of the person, the name, the designation of the person who can issue summons? So, Superintendent of Tax, usually as per Circular 3/2017, can issue summons to you. Now, what does that mean? That means that I am saying I am a superintendent, I have some investigation going on against Mr. X. You are Mr. Y. You are a third party. You may be a business associate. You may be his driver. I have some reasons to believe that you may have some vital information regarding the case. I can summon you. I can summon any person on a particular date and time, and it will be considered to be a judicial proceeding. We will discuss that. Now, but who can issue summons notice? So, superintendent can issue summons notice. Now, what is superintendent? Superintendent, for example, you have been assigned administratively to your state department. Belagata 14 number Belagata mein aapka registration hai. You go to your GST portal. Out there you go to profile. You see in red jurisdictional office, state tax authority. So state tax authority superintendent can issue you summons notice, initiate a summon inquiry against a particular investigation. Counterpart CGST, your superintendent can also do so. DGGI, Directorate General of GST Intelligence, the pan-India body of the Central Tax Authority, if takes up investigation of fake invoicing, takes up investigation of non-payment of tax, We will discuss those cases. He can also be the proper officer for issuing summons, right? Or your DRI, Directorate or Revenue Intelligence under Customs. So these people can be proper officers. Sir, can a superintendent under audit, in the audit commissionerate, can he issue summons? Can he initiate an investigation? No, he cannot. He can issue you letter to initiate a departmental audit under section 65. So it is not his jurisdiction. Sir, can ACDC issue summons? Can I challenge him? No, you cannot challenge him. A superior officer can any time exercise the power of the subordinate officer under section 5 subsection 2 of CGST Act. So an ACDC, additional commissioner, they can also issue summons to you. You cannot challenge on power of jurisdiction. Usually a superintendent issues. Now, what are the kind of documents which we are required to maintain? These are very basic documents which we are required to maintain at any point in time during investigation or before. That is our details of our total outward supplies, our input tax credit claim, details of our suppliers, any job working, works contract, all of these details. These are very basic. We require this for tax audit, we require this for GST audit, we require for monthly filing of GSTR 1 and 3B returns, reconciliations. But sir, do we know that can we maintain these data in the electronic format also? There are so many cases where we go in the department, the officer, they do not know. They say that bhai khata lekar ke aiye. I am not going to accept this tally and all those things. No, Rule 56 of CGST rules allows us to maintain all of these data in electronic format. It does not have to be mandatorily maintained in the hard copy. So till when do we have to maintain all this data, sir? 6 years from the due date of the annual return for that specific year. What does this mean? This means that for the year 22-23, what is the annual return filing date, GSTN 9, which is 31st of December of 2023 for 22-23. 6 years from 23 means 31st December 2029. Until then, we need to have at least our details, documents all pertaining to our 2021-22 financial year under GST, or 1 year from the conclusion of any investigation or adjudication, 3 or 5 years in between that. So 6 से 8 साल तक अपने को maintain करना पड़ेगा of data for any specific year under GST. Now these are, see, we will go through live summons notices where we will see these particular data. They are not exhaustive list कि अच्छा stock statement आप दे दीजिए और अच्छा income tax ITR returns. No, as per different cases they require different documents. These are just a particular illustrative list. Your ITR may be required by the proper officer, your stock audit report may be required, your cost audit report, all of those things, right? As per section 70, what does summons means? Summons means कि if a superintendent out here, the proper officer under this act has the power to issue any person, as I mentioned, not summons cannot just be issued mandatorily to only the person against whom investigation has been initiated. No, summons can be issued against any person who maybe is an associate, maybe a third party, maybe a witness. He may have some knowledge, information, and I need some corroboration. So I can issue a summons. We will see how live summons looks like. I will mention, the superintendent will mention the date and time. He has to, the person summoned has to be appearing in person, has to tender certain statements. A particular computer screen will be there, inspector will sit there, authorized, he will ask you 50 questions. Oh, acha, it's a fake invoice case, your supplier has been adjudged to be fake. Fake means he has just been issuing invoices, there has been no movement of goods. 99% of the cases of anti-evasion DGTI is this only nowadays. So in that case, he will ask you, acha, when did you meet the supplier? Oh, acha, did you buy through a broker? Or how do you know the supplier? What is the KYC detail of the supplier? Is there any collusion with the supplier? 50 questions. You have to answer those. He will type it, print it, ask you to sign after reading. That is summons. But ये इतना easy नहीं है. Summons is supposed to be a judicial proceeding. आप ये मानिए कि you're going in a court, civil court, and whatever statement you are giving to the proper officer, even to the inspector, he's typing. All that can be admitted in the court of law. That has evidentiary value, right? So you are legally bound to attend summons. It is a deemed judicial proceeding, and it is to be considered that you are going to a judicial civil court, and code of civil procedure will be applicable. आप जितना देर तक interrogation चल रहा है 7-8 घंटा, you are answering all those details, tendering documents, details, whatever is required. You are supposed to be assumed that you are in the court of law, right? Now, as I mentioned, summons can be issued to any person, of course. So, but as per recent guideline, which was 17th of August 2022, instruction number 3, 2022-23, which we will discuss. Out there it is mentioned, if you are, sir, issuing summons to a third party witness, CA, co-accused, please mention that investigation has been initiated against Mr. X, not you. And you have been summoned in the role of a witness. So that he's not startled if he receives a summon notice, oh, acha, investigation has been issued against me. This is as per the guideline. Any person, as I mentioned, there are Supreme Court case laws also. Here it is mentioned, the person who was actually not smuggled or who was not actually GST, evaded GST, he can also be summoned because he has certain relevant facts and information which needs corroboration, right? Now, as I mentioned, sir, why is summons a serious affair? How is it different from normal chit chat or personal hearing, right? So it's, as I told you, it is considered to be a judicial proceeding. Civil law, the code of civil procedure will be applicable. Means IPC ka kuch dhara to lagega na if you disobey that. So there are two sections which we need to remember. Section 193 of IPC, section 228 of IPC. Section 193 says, कोई भी झूठा चीज अगर आप बोलेंगे, if you fabricate any evidence, you may be imprisoned and prosecuted for up to 7 years with fine. It's a serious thing. You cannot lie during summons. Second thing, you need to know, section 228 of IPC, what does it say? It says that if you interrupt, insult, does not cooperate with a public servant, you may be imprisoned for up to 6 months. You do not attend summons. Summons has been issued once, twice, thrice. A complaint can be filed with the judicial magistrate. You can be termed as a willful absconder under section 172. You may be imprisoned for up to 1 month. In the summons notice which we will see, हर बार लिखा रहता है section 174, 175 और IPC. उसका मतलब क्या हुआ? उसका मतलब है if you skip summons, section 174 IPC may be attracted to you. Means you are willfully not going for the summons without giving any a legitimate reason or adjournment. So you can be imprisoned for up to 1 month. Section 175 of IPC says if you do not tender the documents which are mentioned in the summons notice, you can be again imprisoned for 1 month. So also there is a specific provision in GST Act, section 122 subsection 3 clause D, which mentions penalty of up to 25,000 rupees if you don't attend summons. Plus summons attend नहीं करेंगे 174, 175, 172, कुछ झूठ बोलेंगे 193, cooperate नहीं करेंगे 228, or I can also be termed as an absconder. Prosecution can happen. So it's a serious affair. We're legally bound to attend summons. Okay. Now, let us understand the salient features of summons. I have already mentioned who can issue summons. Superintendent usually, his senior can also issue. DGGI takes up the case all over India body. It can also be a proper officer. Audit commissioner cannot do, audit superintendent cannot, right? Sir, any statements which we have given during summons interrogation, can it be admitted as an evidence? I have already mentioned yes, but why? Sir, we must have seen it in Hindi movies, hotshot lawyer in the courtroom saying, sir, any confession given in police custody to this police person is not admitted in the court of law. We worked this, but why? We just know this, but why? Section 25 of Indian Evidence Act. The legislators of Indian Evidence Act, they know that the police people during arrest, they may torture, they may use aggressive tactics, and they may elicit certain involuntary statements which are not true. But the same thing is not anticipated out of GST officers. So any GST officer in front of him in summons interrogation under section 70 on that given date and time, whatever statements you are giving, answers you are giving, tendering documents and all that, that can be admitted in the court of law. There is a Supreme Court case law also I mentioned, Romesh Chandra Mehta. Here it is mentioned that the GST officers are not police officers. Okay, so section 25 of Indian Evidence Act is not applicable on the GST officers. So any statement given to GST officer during summons is admissible. Section 136 clause B of GST Act also mentions three things. आप summons में कुछ भी अगर दोगे, first चीज, it can be used in a case of prosecution against yourself and against the main accused also. Second thing, it can be upheld in the court of law for interest of justice. Third thing, it can be used to corroborate the main evidence. There are so many case laws I have mentioned here for this, so there is no denying, right? Now, the right to remain silent, extremely important safeguard of ours. If we go to a summons, we are expected to speak the truth. If we lie or if we are caught lying there, fabricate evidence, we can be imprisoned for up to 7 years under 193 IPC, right? But do we have the right to remain silent? Sir, it is a fundamental right. I am not saying. The constitution is saying, extremely important safeguard. No person, section article 20 sub article 3, what does it say? No person can be forced to be a witness against himself. CRPC section 161 says no person can be bound to expose himself in a criminal proceeding. You are expected to speak the truth, but at the same time, if you know if you are going to answer to a particular question, it may criminally implicate you. You have the right to remain silent. There are Supreme Court settled case laws also. Here is an extremely important safeguard. Here in NSR Krishna Prasad, Padam Narayan Agarwal, there, right to remain silent is not an obstruction, is not an offense during summon proceedings, right? So we can remain silent, yes.
So if I say I don't know,
you don't know, sir, two things. You are being evasive. You are saying for 50 questions, 49 I don't know. You are being evasive, show cause notice will come. For 5 questions you say, sir, I don't have the factual information right now. You will nahi pata mere ko nahi pata. How do I meet that person? I don't remember, I'm confused, I'm threatened, I'm sweating. I will seek time, 10-15 days. With affidavit, undertaking, cover letter, I'm going to submit the replies.
So you have to be obviously rehearsed with your counsel, your advocate and CA before coming for the summons, that what is the exact case. We will know some bit, right? In the summons notice it will be mentioned fake invoice, something will be mentioned. So you will have some detail as to in which respect to which supplier he is talking about. These documents will be mentioned, so you have to prepare yourself, right? But you have the right to remain silent, sir. Sir, I don't know. But if you're not cooperating at all and all that, then they'll issue show cause notice. Any which way 99 out of 100 cases show cause notice is issued, right? So this is an extremely important safeguard, sir. Sir, another thing which we need to understand, law of retraction. As sir said, I am extremely threatened. I am extremely coerced. I have been subject to violent tactics. Somehow or the other, I am extremely startled. I am sweating. I don't know what I am speaking. Or I may be fumbling. I may be giving answers which are half-baked, half-truth, not correct. And I want to retract it later because after reaching home, 2-3 days pass and I realize, oh, what did I say? I've said a factually incorrect thing. So, at the earliest possible opportunity, I will write in an affidavit and submit to my proper officer. Anti-evasion DGGS, sir, please replace that point of statement. Don't admit it as evidence. This is the particular statement which I am tendering. Please replace it and assume it as the evidence. So I have a power to this right to retract, but it needs to be at the earliest possible opportunity. It cannot be an afterthought like 2 months, 3 months later I have planned everything. So the courts won't entertain that. At the earliest possible, there is no time limit, but law of retraction is there, right? So this is extremely important. Second thing, sir, I want my CA, I want my lawyer who has trained me, who has prepared all the documents, who knows the case more so ever with the law aspect also to be right next to me, to assist me, to help me, to prompt me, to comfort me during the summons proceeding. Will he be allowed? This is a very major important question. Will I have support? So it is a settled law as per many Supreme Court case laws also. Yes, I have mentioned Pool Pandey versus Superintendent Jugal Kishore Samrab, M.K. Kundia. Your lawyer, your counsel, CA can be available at a visible distance but not at an audible distance. Means he can sit across the glass, see that you are safe. There is no violent tactics which are your human rights are saved, but he should not be a part of the entire interrogation. He could not prompt you. He cannot sit right next to you. But in many cases where I personally gone for summons, I have requested or the client has requested the superintendent. They have been very, very cordial and they have allowed the CA or the lawyer to sit next to them, but they cannot prompt, they cannot support, but they are at least updated, right? So we need to understand this particular safeguard. Another safeguard, sir, Swiggy case law, Karnataka High Court, we will discuss later. In that case law of Karnataka High Court, they referred to a Supreme Court case law, extremely important. This Paramveer Singh Saini versus Baljit Singh. Sir, CCTV kidhar hai? How do I know that there is no coercion, there is no duress, there is no whatever threat of arrest? All statements have been actually taken voluntarily. So how do I know that? There should be CCTV with microphone facility in all the rooms and areas of anti-evasion or wherever summons happen in DGGI office. Ground level we see there is nothing as such. Proper infrastructure is far from what the ground reality is, but we can use this as a safeguard. The same safeguard was used by Swiggy people in the Karnataka High Court. So we can use this. We need to understand this. Another safeguard, law of cross-examination, one of the most indispensable tools in the entire discussion today. Law of cross-examination in income tax statute also, other statutes also. If any third person, witness, co-accused, any other person has been summoned, he has given tendered certain statements which have gone against me. Yes, sir, सारा ये चोरी किया sir. I have proper credible evidence that इसी ने किया and I have given you the evidence. Sir, can that statement be used as an evidence? Can an order be passed against you without you being given the right to cross-examine that person in the presence of that proper officer? This is not GST law. This is all the statutes. You have the right. There are more than 15 case laws which I have mentioned here where you have the safeguard. You can legally challenge the order which has been passed against you if you have not been given the opportunity to cross-examine a person who has become a witness and he has tendered certain statements which have been admitted as evidence and has been passed against you, used against you. The Supreme Court in Andaman Timber Industries, they have mentioned that the order is null and void if the right to cross-examine has not been given. How can you admit that statement as an evidence if that person has not been cross-examined or his right to cross-examine was denied, right? I mentioned many case laws here. You can refer to this. Sir, am I expected to remember, as sir said, am I expected to remember each and everything during the summon proceedings? I have a fake invoice case, my supplier is fake. He is passing on fake invoices for 500 transactions with 50 of his clients. I am the 51st client. but I have all the e-way bill T, bank account, statements, highlighted transactions, everything to prove the actual movement of goods in my premises. So in that particular case, if I remember, would I be expected to remember each and every factual detail during summons? Can I say I don't know, I don't remember? Yes sir, you can say so, and you can in fact seek also time. Sir, अभी याद नहीं है, अभी हम झूठ क्यों बोले आपको? Because if I say something and if I sign it, that will be admitted as an evidence and उसके बाद में पछड़ा है, then again I will have to retract. So sir, please give me 5-10 days. I will tender those documents. I will give you that particular factual information. So that is allowed. This in fact, Indian Evidence Act section 159, that also allows. Right to refresh one's memory. Will I remember 20,000 tally entries of mine? If he challenges 50 suppliers and a big racket, he's saying I am also part of the racket, whereas I am not. No, you can refer to your tally, your data, your papers, accounts during summons. You can do so. These are very extremely important safeguards. There are Supreme Court case laws also which I have mentioned here, which uphold this. Now, to-dos which I mentioned during summon proceedings, sir, please don't argue. ये सब जो मैं case law दिया हूँ, don't argue, sir. ये case law में ये बोलते हैं, case law में you cannot do this. No, you have to challenge it later. Argue on matter of facts. He is saying, sir, supplier bogus है. हम बोले, sir, supplier bogus हो ही नहीं सकता. I have submitted 20 documents. Sit with me. Please check each and everything. Correlate. E-way bill, consignment note, my bank account statements, my stock ledger of entire trail of movement of purchase to sale, my delivery challans, my warehouse keeping, my warehouse store book records, everything is there. I am going to argue on facts. I am not going to argue on law. Let that be for the reply to show cause notice for my counsel, for him to do that. Sir, you may use these professional services of CA advocate. 10-15 दिन मिलता है समन्स में जाने से पहले. You can obviously understand your rights. You can also, he can help you make the documents in the entire trail, right? To substantiate your case, your genuineness of transaction. Do not give any additional document which is not required. But sir, we will see in real life someone notice only 2 documents were asked for fake supplier case. One was, sir, मेरे को खाता दीजिए, means account ledger, and second was just give the copies of invoices. Will I be able to prove actually that I have not done any wrongdoing, means I have not availed input tax credit on the basis of fraudulent fake invoices where I have not received goods? Will I be able to? No. I have 20 other credible documents I will submit, but those are not irrelevant documents. But I can definitely submit during summons, after summons also. During reply to show cause notice also. Sir, कोई भी आपको statement नहीं मिलेगा of evidence. You have been asked 100 questions over 8 hours. You have been made to wait 4 hours. You have given 100 answers. He's typed all of that. The inspector takes a printout, gives you. He asks you certain questions. You understand differently. You answer something. He interprets something. He writes something, and you read something else. No, there is a lot of if. Please read all of that before signing, because it has evidentiary value, right? You won't be able to retain that copy with you. Next, only show cause notice will come, right? Sir, guidelines. What are the latest guidelines? Guideline instruction number 3, 2022-23 coming out on 17th of August. What does it say? बहुत आर्बिट्रेरीनेस चल रहा था. किसी को भी समझ में उठा लो, कभी भी समझ कर लो, कुछ भी पूछ लो, वेट कराओ, टॉप मैनेजमेंट को भेज दो. It's arbitrariness. There needs some regulation, right, for ease of business, for transparency of their work. Sir, a very important guideline. First thing, please issue summons only when it is required. Start with a letter. You want to elicit information, you ask clarification, explanation, give 10 pages, whatever these details, that person will respond. Don't start with a particular summons, because the person will get threatened. If required, if he is evasive in his reply, if he does not respond properly, if he does not provide the documents, issue summons to him. But if you have to issue summons under section 70, don't use threatening language. Don't use your harsh language, right? Secondly, if you have to issue summons, please do not issue summons in the first instance to the top management. अरे sir, मेरे को पता है मेरा धंधा, मेरे को tax facts नहीं पता है. I am the CMD, I am the MD, I am the CEO, CFO. I am not expected to know day-to-day tax compliance work. What I filed, how much input I claimed. No, my tax officer does that, my CA does that, my finance officer does that. The company can designate the particular relevant people that, sir, you may summon this person. So in the first instance, do not invite someone for summons who's a director. He does not know anything immediately, right? So this has been also upheld in so many cases which I have mentioned here, right? But if you have credible evidence that he's hands in glove with decision making in a GST evasion case, and you have reasons to believe, you may issue summons to the top management also in the first instance. Sir, do not issue summons repeatedly. रोज summons issue कर रही है to harass the person. No. If you want to corroborate an evidence during investigation, issue once, take all the statements, and in the minimum number of appearances, please means admitted as evidence. Sir, DIN, it may sound very, very silly. Sir, DIN ही नहीं है. We know what DIN is, right? Document identification number. Every communication from the GST department, central GST department, not state. State का अलग number है. That is also started just 1 year earlier only. For the center, any कुछ एक चिट्ठी भी देते, if it does not have a DIN, CBIC DIN generated, then you don't have to even reply to that. But usually you should reply and mention this, the validity of that it is invalid, it is null and void, and you should mention this particular circular. Sir, circular जो मैं बोलता हूँ, what does that mean? Departmental circular is mandatory on all the departmental people. It is not mandatory on me. But the departmental people means up to the commissioner level, not the appeals and all that. Up to the commissioner level, they are bound to follow departmental circular. Your department circular mentions the mandatory mentioning or generation of CBIC DIN. If it is not there, then you can challenge that particular validity of notice. And I have attached few notices here. Coming from DGGI Sikkim for a casino client of ours, no DIN. 3-4 pages of documents required, etc. No DIN. We challenged it. They had to drop that in particular investigation. Extremely important safeguard. There is a prescribed format also of summons, which we will see as per this circular. What are the other notable points? Sir, can I be summoned at 10 in the night, 12 in the night? Today I saw, in our WhatsApp group, someone had posted some update about Bombay High Court or something, where the person was summoned at night or he was asked to stay overnight overall. And the next day, without any reason, utha liya usko. Means arrested. In the guise of summons. Can all this be done? Which is actually being done. So these which I am talking, these are actual safeguards. Which is happening every day, which is happening. Which today I read also. In our group only, FIEO group, right?
So they do not follow this guidelines.
Sir, they don't. Sir, this timing which I am mentioning, nowhere timing is mentioned. In CBIC guideline, in primary legislation, delegated legislation circular, no. I've taken this timing with the reference of a particular case law, which is Agarwal Foundries, but spot summons are issued. If I am doing raid in all of those things, search and seize, spot summons. Sir, abhi ka abhi aiye. I want to tender your document statements because I have credible information कि आपने 5 करोड़ से ऊपर का घोटाला किया, I will arrest you right now. कि 2 करोड़ से ऊपर का किया, I will arrest you right now. So they will issue spot summons. But can you issue summons to a person and be expected to attend at 12 in the night, 4 in the morning? No, you cannot do that, right? You can challenge that. That's your safeguard. So on weekdays, 10:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays, you can be expected to be summoned, right? As per this particular case law which I mentioned, do not call for salutary information document. 1 already hai, CB already hai, 990 already hai, 50 pages I will print out and I will give them again. No, that is not required. The salutary documents which they already have, please do not ask for that. 3 summons they have been issued. जैसे ईडी ने अरविंद केजरीवाल को 7-8 समन्स इशू किया था, दैट इज ईडी लॉ, दैट इज पीएमएलए, प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, दैट इज डिफरेंट. दिस इज जीएसटी. 3 summons. First summon, second summon, 20 days later, no time limit, reasonable interval. No response, skip, abscond. Third summon again, no response, no reasonable justification for adjournment. After 3 summons, the proper officer, superintendent, he has the right to file a complaint in the judicial magistrate and you can be apprehended. Prosecution can start, 172, 174, 175, all of those things which we have discussed. Right? Now, as I mentioned, guideline only mentions, please mention in what role are you being summoned. Have investigation, name the person against whom investigation has started, if it does not go against the interest of the revenue. Right? So all of these are particular guidelines. A real life summon for fake invoice case. Our client has bought some goods from Noida. So that is L1, immediate supplier. L2, his supplier. उसका वहां पर छापा मारा गया. He is not present. No conduct of business. He is not there. He has been adjudged as bogus. पंचनामा आया बोलता bogus है ये. So all those invoices which have been issued by him to the first layer 2,000 people, second layer 20,000 people, they will see all of those data. Those people who have for a particular monetary limit more than that claim that input tax credit which may be alleged to be fraudulent input tax, they are summoned. बात समझिए. My L1 may be fine. L2 no. He is doing bogus, means he is a bogus particular supplier. He is not conducting business from his principal place of business. He is not existent there. He is just issuing his sale invoice, putting it in his GSTR1. The same is coming in my GSTR 2A 2B. I am claiming it in my 3B. I am using it against the setting off of my output tax liability or passing it further. Fraudulent, that is fraudulent, right? But he is saying that. He is saying, I don't know आपका transactions क्या है, prove. Because section 155 of CGST Act, it says burden of proof for input tax credit eligibility is on me. Rest all everything is on the department. So I have to prove the eligibility of my input tax credit. कि सर वो तो 2 layer आगे है, वो 50 आदमी को धोखा दिया है, but I have more than 100 documents with me to prove the actual movement of goods from his premise to my premise and thereafter to my customer premise. I don't know about L2. Who's L2? I don't even know. Are supplier ka supplier kaun hai? How would I know? There is no window for me to check. How do I even care, right? So these cases are 99% of the cases which we are receiving. How do we respond to that? See, in this particular case, they have just mentioned to submit the invoice copies of the purchase invoice copies and account ledger. But we have submitted more than 20-30 documents, as I mentioned, to prove the actual movement of goods in the inward supply, means from the movement of premises of the supplier from Noida to Calcutta, yahan par. So e-way bill is there, consignment notability is there. What else is there? How else I get proof? My bank account statement highlighted with the bank transactions that I made payment to the transporter, to the particular supplier. What else is there? Undertaking from the supplier with the vehicle lorry number and the weights of the particular this. So all of this has been submitted voluntarily. Now that was the inward part of the transaction, outward part of the transaction. So the movement from my premise to my customer's premise. So I have proof with e-way bill, with bill T again with the same things, with letter of undertaking. So this is a stock ledger from Tally. These are names are changed. This guy has been alleged to be a bogus supplier. So I bought 80,730 kg of scrap from this Swastik International from Noida, right? But I have sold 75,590 to who? This Sri Hari Steels 10 days later. And to Mrityunjay Udyog I have sold 5,140 remaining. Closing balance zero. So closing balance zero, what does it mean? This is a particular trail. अरे माल वहाँ से आया, आप बोल रहे हो बोगस है. अगर बोगस है तो how can I sell? So this is a stock ledger. As much as possible, I have to substantiate the actual movement of goods from the place of the supplier to my place, and thereafter also, if possible. The officers, they themselves say that. ये जितना factually proof कर सकते हैं proof करिए. This is again the detail of the invoices of which I have sold to my customer from the goods which I have purchased from an alleged supplier. So all of these details are there, lorry number and all those things. These are undertakings which I have taken from the transporter. अरे ये सब vehicles, ये सब number से ये सब माल transport हुआ है, तो actual में आया delivery challans. All these undertakings are there from the customer also, that against these sale invoices of mine, he has made payment into my bank account. Those bank statements are there. Sir, extremely important case laws which I have mentioned for 99 out of 100% of the cases for fake invoicing which we can resort to. What does this mean? This means your allegations, sir, 99 out of 100 cases में अभी जो भी investigation में purchase from non-existent supplier, छापा मारा गया, supplier मिला ही नहीं है, he's not conducting work, non-existent, bogus. So all of these allegations are there. Burden of proof. The department cannot make bald statements, mere conjectures, surmises, saying that अच्छा उसको माल नहीं मिला, उसका छापा हुआ, वो 50 आदमी को वहाँ पर fake invoicing कर रहे तो आपको भी किया हो सकता है किया हो, but it's my responsibility to physically to tell that I have physically received the goods with tangible evidence, which I have already explained. So there's another very important case law, Malekotla Steel Alloys, which I mentioned here of Haryana and Punjab High Court. They are saying that if your supplier has not received goods and it is proved, is it mandatory that I have also not received goods? No. My supplier is dealing with thousands of people. He may be actually involved in fake transactions, means in not supplying the actual goods but offloading the input tax credit for 500 of his clients. I am the 501st client. So I have all the documents and details to prove that I have actually received. So if my supplier has not received the goods, I have received the goods. So there is no mandate कि supplier को नहीं मिला, मेरे को भी नहीं मिला होगा, right? So this is as per the case of very important safeguard. This is another summons. This is not a summons, but I mentioned, where is the DIN? No DIN. Issued by the CBI, DGGI, Sikkim, for a casino client of ours there. No DIN. 3-4 pages documents. No DIN. We don't even need to reply to such notices because it is invalid. But we replied saying that as per this particular circular, this is void, not valid, because no DIN has been mentioned. Kindly see that. Now sir, burning issue. दरवाजा बंद हो गया. I am in search and seizure. रेड पार्टी आए. अभी का अभी पैसा दीजिए नहीं तो उठा के ले जाएंगे आपको. Means under duress, under coercion, with the threat of arrest, you are being asked to voluntarily pay. Voluntary सिर्फ आपका बीच में it's a fake word. They are forcing you to make payment in the guise of voluntary payment. If you don't do that to the government, so we are going to apprehend you from here. Issue an arrest memo. Sir, in these cases, what should we do? Extremely important safeguard which we should understand. यहाँ पर खड़ा होकर के बोलना और actual में बंद रूम में deal करना ऑफिसर लोग very different. We may 99 out of 100 cases make the payment. Right? We will make the payment too for a goodwill gesture, for preventing an arrest. Right? What should we do? See, first concept we need to understand. Section 73 subsection 5, 74 subsection 5 बोल करके कुछ होता है. What does this mean? This means that before the issue of show cause notice, before the starting of adjudication proceedings, I admit my liability. I say कि actually मेरे से सर गलती हुआ है, 10 लाख का payment मेरे को करना है, I admit the liability on my self assessment and I make the payment voluntarily in DRC 03 form, we all know, right? And we make this payment and with interest, with 15% penalty. No show cause notice after that. Investigation dropped. Everything dropped. No adjudication also. Investigation dropped, adjudication dropped. But sir, कितने cases में this is actual voluntary? No. We have been forced to make the payment and bulk amount of payment, right? So now what is happening is during search and seizure we have been coerced to make payment. We make the payment. 1-2 days later when the search party goes the safeguard, we retract. We retract from a statement that it is not voluntary payment. This was made under duress, under coercion, under threat of arrest. I want my money back. And not only my money back, I want 6% interest on that as well. I want the cherry on the cake. And this I'm not saying, these are courts are saying, and these have been actually, these refunds have actually been given. What is the concept? Try to understand. The department is contesting that in the court, saying that no sir, this is voluntary payment. We did not do anything. He's admitted that he's paid. Now the person who's retracted from his statement, he's saying that sir, how can it be voluntary? I'm just saying, issue show cause notice to me. I want to contest. Section 74 subsection 5, 73 subsection 5 says no issue of show cause notice if voluntary payment has been made along with interest and penalty. I have not made this voluntary payment. This is under duress, coercion. I contest. I want to contest. Issue show cause notice to me. I've retracted. So the court says that okay, he's retracted. He's willing to contest. Why are you getting scared? Send him show cause notice. Adjudicate. But when you are adjudicating, you cannot tell me this. The department is saying, अच्छा ठीक है सर, कोई problem नहीं है. 1-1.5 साल में हम डिमांड ऑर्डर DRC 07 में दे देंगे. तब तक पैसा जो है ना आप जमा करके रखिए. No. How can आप? There is no concept of advance collection, advance prepayment for against appropriation against future demand. What is this? First is show cause notice, then is hearing, then there is demand in 067, then 3 months under section 78 for making payment or going for appeal, or if you don't make the payment you go in default, section 79 for recovery proceeding, नीलामी. आपका डेटर को पकड़ लेंगे, आपका बैंक अकाउंट को फ्रीज कर लेंगे, आपका गुड्स को खरीद करके बेच देंगे, ऑक्शन कर देंगे. दैट इज आफ्टर 3 months फ्रॉम पासिंग ऑफ द ऑर्डर इफ यू डोंट मेक द पेमेंट. यहाँ पर तो शो कॉज नोटिस इशू नहीं हुआ है. आप तो सर्च रेट में जाते हैं, आप पैसा बोलते हैं कि आप पेमेंट कर दो जो भी है. नो, दीज आर नॉट वॉलंटरी पेमेंट्स. So the concept is you retract, you say these are not voluntary payments after 1-2 days after the search party leaves, and either you file a complaint, okay, or you file a particular writ and you will get that particular money, nevertheless late or whatever, but you will get that money. So here the department, the court is saying that no, I cannot withhold that money. I have to refund it right now, and you then do adjudication proceedings, issue all of that order and all, then we will see, right? So this particular case was Sri Nandi Dal Mills in your Madras High Court. This particular says Swiggy, Karnataka High Court, landmark judgment. 4 a.m. in the morning, the top management they are summoned. Statements have been tendered, and how many crores of money was paid in the guise of voluntary payment? They Swiggy people later on retracted and said that no sir, this was not payment, voluntary payment. This was under the threat of arrest, and we made the payment as a goodwill gesture. So goodwill gesture and self-assessment कुछ नहीं होता है. Self-assessment means voluntary payment, but I did not make any voluntary payment under 73.5, 74.5. Return me back the money with interest, and they had to return back the money. Here also, as I mentioned, Karnataka High Court also pointed out there was no CCTV camera, no microphone. So this is also a very important safeguard. The Karnataka High Court took reference of the Supreme Court case of Paramveer Singh Sen. That where is the CCTV and the microphone? Bhumi Associate, Gujarat High Court went 2 steps ahead. This I'm talking about 2021-22 guidelines के पहले का बात कर रहा हूँ. So Gujarat High Court, what did they say? They went 2 steps ahead. They said कि sir, if you don't want to give the guidelines, your officers are harassing people. There is all arbitrariness. It's all haywire. I am going to issue guidelines which you follow. First guideline: no mode of payment under no circumstance during investigation in any which way possible that money can be collected. No. First thing. Second thing, even if I want to say नहीं सर गलती हुआ है मेरे से actual में, मतलब कि मेरे को actual में and I want to make payment, don't collect payment then. The court is saying, you go, raiding party goes 2 days later, then ask the person to make payment in DRC 03. Reason being, during the search, if you make payment, he can later on contest that it is forceful payment. Third thing, there should be a facility provided by the raiding party to file a complaint against an officer or the leading officer that forceful payments were extracted, and if proved correct, he may be faced with disciplinary action. Extremely, beneficial for all of us. Sir, how many of us we know that we can use the balance in our electronic credit ledger for making payments or voluntary payments during this investigation and all of these audits and all of these adjudications? Sir, yes. This is an extremely important safeguard. सर सर्कुलर से सर्कुलर 17204 आपकी रेट टीम में आदमी बोलता है सर अभी का अभी पैसा जमा करिए, वॉलंटरी पेमेंट करिए. मेरे को करना भी है अगर तो आई विल रिट्रैक्ट लेटर, बट करना भी है तो लेट्स यूज द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर ना. व्हाई टू डिपॉजिट कैश? I have 1 crore in my electronic credit ledger, IGST, CGST, SGST. Let's pay that. I will apply for refund later. I will get that particular money back. Right? So this particular, but it can be only used for payment of output tax. RCM is not output tax. You have to make mandatory payment in cash for penalty, for late fees, for your interest. उसमें आपको कैश में पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा. But this is again a very important saver. 60-70% तो जो डिमांड होता है तो टैक्स होता है ना. We can make payment with the electronic credit ledger. After all of these case laws, after all of these arbitrariness, the department comes out with its one of the first whatever these guidelines, instruction 01/2022, 23 on 25th May. It says that okay fine, we understand. Don't make any payment during investigation. Okay, make payment only when show cause notice is issued, demand order comes out, 3 months pass, recovery proceedings. I am doing nilami recovery proceedings. उसके पहले आप payment कर दो. ठीक है, that's fine. So investigation should be succeeded by adjudication. They are saying investigation is a matter to collect credible evidence. It's not a matter of collection. Collection, recovery, all of that should be with adjudication. If there is no adjudicating order, if show cause notice has not been issued, then there is no legal validity of collection of all these payments. Right? They mention this, but they also mention this, that at any given point in time, during summons, during arrest, during search and seizure, during inspection or anything, the taxpayer voluntarily on self-assessment basis under section 74(5), 73(5) can come forward and make payment of tax. That mechanism is there if he wants to make payment of tax with interest and 15% penalty. I've mentioned all of the same things here only, where there you can contest these grounds or defenses are there, violation of article 300A, article 265, all of these things. These are landmark case laws which I mentioned. सर रिकवरी कहां से हो सकता है? ऑर्डर का है फॉर एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी. शो मी दी ऑर्डर. 3 महीना निकल जाएगा, उसके बाद में नीलामी करिए. आप तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रहे हो, आप एविडेंस जो भी निकालना है, टेक समन्स एंड प्लीज गो स्टार्ट विद द एडजुडिकेशन. राइट? सो ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स आई मेंशन्ड. यू कैन रेफर टू दिस. नाउ सर, can we challenge a show cause notice on jurisdiction? Extremely important slide. We need to know the monetary limits. Superintendent 1 crore का नोटिस दे सकता है क्या टैक्स का? अगर 1 crore का नोटिस देता है, then we will challenge it on jurisdiction. Superintendent under circular number 3105 can issue show cause notice of disputed tax of only up to 20 lakhs of IGST and 10 lakhs of CGST, SGST. Then ACDC, senior person, he can issue show cause notice of disputed tax of 20 lakhs to up to 2 crores for IGST and half 10 lakhs to 1 crore of CGST, SGST each. And additional joint commissioner can issue any show cause notice where disputed tax amount relates to more than 1 CR, CGST each, SGST each, and 2 CR, more than 2 CR for IGST. Sir, most important slide of the presentation. Extremely important, we need to understand this. The timelines. अपने को कब तक show cause notice आ सकता है? Sir, try to understand what is the concept. 3 and 5 years. आप लोग जैसे इन्वेस्टिगेशन बोलते हैं, उठा के ले जाएगा, हमारे पास में नोटिस आ जाएगा, एक्सेट्रा. नोटिस नहीं आ सकता. दिस गेटिंग टाइम बट फॉर 2019-20 ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट. In non-fraud cases under section 73, 1 show cause notice can be issued. 73 subsection 9 order can be issued. Section 73 subsection 10 timeline बताता है कि कब तक ऑर्डर इशू करना है. सर ऑर्डर कब तक इशू करना है इन नॉन फ्रॉड केसेस अंडर सेक्शन 73? 3 years फ्रॉम द ड्यू डेट ऑफ द एनुअल रिटर्न इन जीएसटी एंड 9 फॉर दैट स्पेसिफिक फाइनेंशियल ईयर. मतलब क्या हुआ? 19-20 देखते हैं सर. 17-18-19 18-19 चला गया, 19-20 देखते हैं. 19-20 का अपना एक्चुअल एज पर अपना जो लॉ के हिसाब से व्हेन वाज द ड्यू डेट फॉर 9? इट वाज 31st December 2020 ना. लेकिन इट गॉट एक्सटेंडेड टू 3 months more, 31st March 2021 बाय दिस नोटिफिकेशन. वो सब कुछ नहीं देखना, अपने को देखना आप फ्रॉम 31st March 2021 से 3 साल as per section 73 subsection 10 timeline for order under section 73 subsection 9. 3 साल from when? The extended due date for GST and 9 of 21-22. 3 साल प्लस करिए 31st March 2024 सर निकल गया. ऑर्डर का टाइम ही निकल गया. नो, arbitrarily again that had been issued, that had been furthered, means और extend किया गया. Order now for 19-20 non-fraud cases of show cause notice can be issued on by latest of 31st of August 2024. This is also not the most important date. Now the most important date is 3 months before the issue of the order, the last date. Show cause notice can be issued. Last date of issue of show cause notice for passing of this order under section 73 is 3 months before this 31st of August 2024. मतलब 3 महीना अगस्त से माइनस करेंगे क्या आएगा? 31st मई. आज कौन सा तारीख है? 16 मई. मतलब अगला 15 दिन में अगर शोकॉज नोटिस 1920 के संबंध में सेक्शन 73 के नहीं आता अपना, तो वी कैन सेलिब्रेट, so long as this is not again further extended. 3 times this has been extended. It may be other again. ये सब क्यों हो रहा है? The department is not manned enough to even handle 25% of the existing litigation or these notices. So that's why it's again and again getting extended. But sir, matter of celebration is only limited. Why? Section 74 notice can be issued for 5 years from the due date of the annual return. ये तो 3 साल मैं बोला हूँ. So for fraud cases, willful misstatement, all those statements, those notices 5 years from the due date of annual return, it can be issued. Means your order can be issued 5 years from the due date of the annual return. तो मतलब क्या हुआ, 2019-20 का 5 years मतलब 2026 31st March तक they can issue an order under section 74 subsection 9. But when we will receive those show cause notices 6 months before that particular date, we can challenge it saying it is no fraud, there is no mens rea, there is no evasion of tax. ये तो भूल से हो गया, गलती हो गया. I can contest that on another ground. There are so many case laws. So I can challenge a section 74 notice, show cause notice, saying there is no fraud, misfeasance or any willful default. But section 73 में तो क्या है, non fraud है, वो तो खुद ही बोल रहा है सर आपसे भूल से हुआ है. So 15 more days, 31st of March is the last date for issuing of show cause notice for 1920. Now another burning issue, parallel proceedings, which we need to understand. So here in this particular case, what we see is, sir, what did I mention in the beginning? That multiple agencies, DGGI, anti-evasion wing, my range superintendent, all of those people, they are nabbing me at the same time. For example, DGGI West Bengal, he issues what? He issues a summons notice under section 70 saying fake invoice. My audit commissionerate under section 65, he starts a departmental audit. He finds out there is no payment to supplier within 180 days from the date of invoice. Violation of second proviso to section 16 subsection 2 read with rule 37. अलग case. DGGI का अलग case. Range office, मेरा जो superintendent है, he issues a show cause notice at the same time saying 2A 3B mismatch. क्या आपका supplier ने payment नहीं किया tax? 3 different notices at the same time for the same tax year. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. Because those 3 are different subject matters. DGGI का सब्जेक्ट मैटर था फेक इनवॉइसिंग, मतलब आपका सप्लायर बोगस से आप फ्रॉडुलेंट आईटीसी खा करके बैठे हैं. रेंज सुपरिटेंडेंट जो शो कॉज नोटिस इश्यू किया है उसका क्या मुद्दा था कि 2A 3B मिसमैच और सप्लायर हैज नॉट मेड पेमेंट ऑफ योर टैक्स कलेक्टेड, दैट इज द सेकंड. और जो आपको ऑडिट जो कमिश्नरेट है which they are undertaking the departmental audit, they are finding many other differences. RCM का है कुछ ऐसे कर. These things can happen simultaneously, but on the same subject matter, which section denies that? This is an extremely important section. Section 6, subsection 2, clause B. What does it say? State tax authority goes ahead with one proceeding, investigation proceeding on the same subject matter. Center tax authority cannot initiate an investigation for the same year on the same taxpayer on the same subject matter, and vice versa. This needs to be read with another important legal safeguard. This particular letter saying that any central tax authority on the basis of any intelligence, he issues an investigation against a person who is administratively assigned to Belia means sales tax. मेरा registration जो है administratively assigned to state tax department, but counterpart central tax authority or DGGI, they have initiated investigation. Are they expected to give the papers to my range office, to the jurisdiction, because every day I can meet them? No. You are not expected to hand over the files to the state tax. If a central tax authority has issued an investigation, summons, arrest, inspection, etc., please reach a logical end, conclude that, get all the evidences and finish that particular investigation. So these are extremely important safeguards which we should know. These are case laws here. See, Calcutta High Court in RP Buildcon, you would have heard this also. Actual में हुआ है 3 wings of the GST department. Already GST departmental audit is being conducted under section 65. साथ में on the same subject matter range office घुसी है, anti evasion घुसी है. अरे सर धंधा करेंगे कि we will reply to all these investigating authorities every time, right? This is an extremely important safeguard. Stay order was provided, was put on all the range office as well as the anti evasion, and the audit commissionerate was expected to finish the entire proceeding. So but see the last line here which I mentioned, if the issue subject matters don't overlap each other, they are independent in nature, they don't intersect and they are different, multiple investigating bodies can initiate summons, can initiate arrest, can initiate search inspection, can give show cause notice under adjudication, can issue letter under section 65 for departmental audit. 5-6 people can do that theoretically on different subject matters. Yes, they can do that, right? Now, there are more than 10-15 case laws, favorable case laws which I have mentioned, which you can quote if you receive any particular notice or any simultaneous concurrent investigation against you on the same subject matter for the same tax period. Many case laws which I have mentioned here. Extremely important landmark case laws. Sir, अगर 10 अच्छा केस लॉ है तो एक दो खराब तो करना ही है ना. There should be some adverse case law, right? GK Industries, Allahabad High Court. Interchangeable words. मस्ती कर रही है. What do they do? They said that summons under section 70 talks about summon inquiry. Section 6 subsection 2 clause B जो मना करता है कि multiple नहीं हो सकता है, it says proceeding. What does that mean? Section 6 subsection 2 clause B says simultaneous proceedings can't happen on the same subject matter by different authorities. And summons under section 70 subsection 1 it says it is not a proceeding which they have interpreted, it's an inquiry. So existing SGST department has already initiated investigation proceedings, and at the same time on the same subject matter your central tax authority CGST superintendent issues a summons under section 70 same subject matter. They say कि नहीं ये तो चल सकता दोनों, वो तो inquiry है. Summons is an inquiry. And this is a proceeding. So section 6 subsection 2 clause B does not get attracted as per this case law because summons is an inquiry and investigation is a proceeding. So section 6 subsection 2 clause B cannot have two proceedings at the same time, but it can have one inquiry, one proceeding. It is kind of a laughable kind of a thing, but in a sense that there were simultaneous proceedings for the same tax on the same subject matter. This could be contested. Now latest CBSE guidelines which I mentioned coming out 2 months ago on the 30th of March 2024. Now what does it say? It says that बड़े matters में आप principal chief zonal commissioner का written approval लो before starting an investigation. बड़ा matters क्या है? Multinational companies, listed companies, or where it is a matter of interpretation, not fraud. It is a matter of first time levy. It is a matter of something which is disputed before the GST council. In all those matters, every investigation has to be started with the prior written approval of principal commissioner. We all know that. But in these cases, the principal chief zonal commissioner written approval is required. Sir, second thing extremely important, which I am talking about, ये 5-6 आदमी लोग एक साथ घुस जाते हैं on different subject matters. There is a guideline which came out. They said that in a case on different subject matters, multiple investigating authorities have initiated investigation. What do? The principal commissioner will come forward and will coordinate with all of these investigating bodies and will ensure, if feasible, that one particular investigating body takes it forward. They receive the NOC and the papers from all the other anti-evasion, state, range office, etc. and DGGI may take all the matters forward, right? In the cases of investigation to be started against listed company, public sector undertakings, government department, all of these, please don't issue summons. Issue a letter to the designated authority. Sir, these summons can't be vague. You need to mention who is it to, what is the role of that person, who is the person against whom the investigation has been started, right? Now, sir, practical issues which we used to face, 2018-19, raid party came, behind closed doors, 25 crores are paid in DRC 03, 3 years they've disappeared, 5 years they've disappeared, 6 years they've disappeared, no show cause notice, no adjudication, पैसा पेमेंट करके खत्म हो गया, उनके लिए केस खत्म हो गया. No, investigation is to collect evidence. Collection is supposed to happen in adjudication. It's a clear concept. Issue show cause notice. So this particular circular says 1 year I give you, complete your investigation. Issue your report to the adjudication department. They will issue show cause notice, and within 3 or 5 years, which I said, the recovery will happen. This is extremely important. We can take this safeguard. Sir, in here, we can see हम लोग का बैंक अकाउंट अटैच हो गया. We don't know. There is an order in DRC 23, DRC 22, which has been passed by the commissioner. He thinks that there is some fraudulent ITC which I have claimed, which is there with me, or I have done some GST evasion. To protect the interest of the revenue, he has issued an order of provisional attachment of my bank account. It has happened with many people. Provisional attachment of any tangible or intangible asset, right? So it can be only be in effect for a year. Sir, extremely important safeguard. Try to understand this. After 1 year, you have to mandatorily, automatically restore that bank account. पहले problem क्या हो रहा था? There is section 1, rule 159, sub rule 2. What does it say? Read with section 83. What does it say? After 1 year, चलिए, एक साल निकल गया, DRC 22 में कमिश्नर ने ऑर्डर दे दिया है, बैंक अकाउंट फ्रीज होके रखा है. एक साल खत्म हो गया, 366 day I go to my ICICI bank branch. They say, sir, we can't unfreeze it. Where is the written order for removal, restoration? Get it from the commissioner in DRC 23. I am chasing for 6 months. That commissioner is not cooperating. So now this has become law from 26th of October 2023 from the 52nd GST Council recommended that after 1 year, 2 instances can happen whereby your bank account can be frozen. First thing, please get that order, written order, if the commissioner gives in DRC 23, or on the 366 day after the provisional attachment of your bank account, automatically it will be restored. You don't need any order. You go to your bank or you go to the custodian where your asset has been in custody, and you say that, sir, 366 days is done. Amended Rule 159 Sub Rule 2 read with Section 83 Subsection 2. It says automatic restoration of provisionally attached property. Right? Now, sir, do we know that we can make payment of GST in installment? What did I say, sir? Order Nikla and DRC 0607, show cause notice, personal hearing order, 3 months. We file appeal or we make the payment. 3 months payment nahi kiye. So what Section 78 gives? 3 months for us to make payment after the order comes out. And after 3 months, Section 79 recovery proceeding, nilami starts. But 3 महीना निकल गया, 1 महीना बाकी है, 15 दिन बाकी है. I don't have the cash. And I know कि अगर मैं नहीं करूँगा ये बैंक अकाउंट के मेरे को पूरा मतलब कि everything they will sell. So I can apply in DRC 20 to my jurisdictional commissioner and I can say, sir, पैसा नहीं है, please, these are my financial statements, please, I plead, use your discretionary power, please give me 6 more months, 1 year, 1.5 years, etc. Either extend my timeline to make the payment under this order or give me EMI scheme. Up to 24 months he can give you EMI scheme for making payment. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? बोलने का मतलब है 50 lakh rupees payment करना under order, interest plus our tax. I don't have the cash right now. I can apply for extension or I can apply for an EMI scheme from the commissioner. But ये मेरा क्या right है क्या? नहीं, this is a privilege. It's a non-appealable order if he says no. It's a discretionary power of the commissioner. If he says no, it cannot be appealed. There is no right to personal hearing, no principle of natural justice because it's a discretionary power of the commissioner. He says, ठीक है, I have called for a report from the range office. I have seen your evidence also. Yeah, you are in some financial crunch. I have the right to extend it to 24 months in EMI scheme. But I will allow you 16 months. Make the payment. But if you do not make the payment from 1st to the 5th of the next month of that EMI, that month, your entire outstanding amount will become outstanding as on that date and you will have to make payment immediately. And recovery proceeding Nilami will begin again under Section 79. So in this particular case, you can apply for an extension or this EMI thing with payment of interest 18%, late fees, and you can apply for this, right? Here, who can apply? आपका 25,000 के नीचे का अगर tax liability है, you cannot apply. You had applied last year, it was rejected, you can't apply this year. And third case, 3 महीना अभी तक निकला नहीं है. 3 महीना निकल गया तो you already a defaulter. From the order, 3 months already have passed, so recovery proceedings have already started. So how can you apply now? So in those cases you can't. There are case laws which I mentioned here, whether interest for delayed filing of GSTR 3B, whether that can be said that, okay sir, paisa nahi hai and please give me EMI scheme. No, because that is a result of self-assessment. Main important catch, you cannot seek for extension of tax which is self-assessed under 3B or any return. नहीं तो पूरा इंडिया चला जाएगा बोलने के लिए कि सर पैसा नहीं है, 3B का सर माफ कर दीजिए, 3B फाइल कर देते ऐसे पैसा नहीं देंगे. No, the law allows that, portal does not allow. Law allows us to file 3B without payment of tax also, portal does not allow. वो अलग चीज है. But in this particular case, any tax which is under self-assessment cannot be sought. This relief cannot be sought only under an order or a proceeding, right? This is a particular case law also. Interest also, which is due to delayed filing of 3B, that is also due to self-assessment, that also you cannot apply for any extension. Sir, draconian, this everyone we would have known, draconian provision, no show cause, no hearing, no order, no reason also, and they will block your input tax credit ledger. Nothing, they will just give you an SMS, email, sir, we are blocking 50 lakh rupees, not the entire, 1 crore का है, 1 crore का balance है, 50 lakh rupees I am blocking. You will be unable to debit your electronic credit ledger using the balance in your electronic credit ledger up to 50 lakh rupees, 1 साल तक. धंधा कैसे करेंगे? We will have to make the payment using a cash ledger. So, this particular rule is already has been contested many places, but this has been used as a draconian temporary measure to curb fake invoices. What does it say? Commissioner, if it has reasons to believe that any input, 1 रुपया का भी, मतलब whatever practically 50 lakh rupees or any other amount is there in your electronic credit ledger, and it has been there because of some fraudulent activity. 4 fraudulent activities, 5 fraudulent activities which we are going to see clause A to clause D in Rule 86A, sub rule 1. We are going to see in those cases, if you have indulged in those practices and if you have availed any fraudulent input tax credit and it is available in your electronic credit ledger, sir, I don't have time to issue show cause notice. Sir, kal to he will transfer all the credit to the other person. I need a temporary restraint right now, sir, please. I have reasons to believe, block it. Then we will issue show cause notice later and all that. Fine, legitimate. But you can't block it for more than a year. Same thing. Here it is being blocked for 16 months to 2 years and all that. You can block the input tax credit ledger a certain amount if you have reasons to believe that that is due to fraud. Due to which reasons? First reason, sir, it is not in my control. As we already discussed, my supplier has been adjudged to be bogus. But my transaction with him is clean and genuine. But even in a case when my supplier has been adjudged to be bogus, non-existent, not supplying any goods from his place, my input tax credit ledger can be frozen. So very weird to hear. But if he has done some wrongdoing in some other case and if they have information, my credit ledger can be blocked as a temporary measure. Second, I have actually done some fake transaction. I have claimed the input tax rate on the basis of fake invoices when no goods have been received. My credit ledger can be blocked. That amount can be blocked. Third thing, sir, no control of mine. I have done genuine transaction with my supplier. I paid him 50 lakh rupees. He's not paid it to the government. Violation of section 16 subsection 2 clause C. So in that particular case, what will happen? In that particular case, it is not in my hands. Doctrine of impossibility. But I am going to pay for it. My credit ledger can be blocked. Fourth case, I myself am not conducting any business. I am a fake recipient. Fifth case, I don't have any invoice. I am claiming input tax credit. Right? So there is rule 36 wherein these documents are mentioned on the basis of which you claim credit. But sir, try to understand, if you pass this restraint, the commissioner, he has to have very credible reason. This is a huge thing for the business because your working capital will be blocked for 1 year. You will have to make payment just using cash. How will you expand your business? So you need to have very credible evidence, not subjective, very objective, and with very due diligent care you have to pass this restraint. No order, no show cause, no reason, but pass this particular restraint that you cannot debit your electronic credit ledger for 1 year. Now I have mentioned the limits also here, you can go through that. Even during audit, if the audit superintendent finds there is some fake invoicing or you've claimed input, he can forward it to the particular anti-evasion on all that. So now try to understand, this is a temporary measure, this is not adjudication. Had this been adjudication, then what's the point of show cause notice? आज मेरे को मन किया, मैं कमिश्नर हूँ, उसके खाता में जाकर के इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर में 50 लाख डेबिट कर दिया और बैठ गया 5 साल के लिए. So what is that? That is a result of adjudication, right? If it's proven that if it is fraudulent, only when an order is passed then that can happen. This is a temporary measure. I can only block 50 lakh or a certain amount which I feel is fraudulently claimed only for 1 year. After 1 year, sir, you will have to unfreeze, right? Now this is how it looks like. 50,000 rupees blocked. This is my electronic credit ledger. The entire opening balance is not blocked. Only this is blocked, and the detail of the person who has blocked it is there. Please visit your jurisdictional office. There is no order, there is no show cause notice, there is no personal hearing, right? Now, there are safeguards. So many landmark case laws which I mentioned here. After 1 year also, so many cases, sir. The department is saying, sir, बहुत tight है. मतलब कि we don't have time only to start adjudication. We will start adjudication in 6 months. 1 year खत्म हो गया, no problem, sir. Keep blocking it. We will come out with the demand appropriated. No, you cannot do that. Even if show cause notice has been issued, pending demand order has already come out before 1 year or not, regardless of the fact, you have to unfreeze, unblock your electronic credit ledger after 1 year as per Rule 86 sub Rule A, 86A sub Rule 3. Right? There are case laws also which I have mentioned here. So there are so many cases we see no reason is provided. Just supplier name is mentioned. He may be fake or not, we don't know. And that it has been blocked. So there is Gujarat High Court, Chennai High Court case laws which are mentioned here, Milli Enterprise. Please give at least reasons if you are blocking, if there is no show cause notice or personal hearing, that there is a 2A 3B mismatch or the supplier is fake, so that I can run to my jurisdictional office and submit documents. Please at least mention reasons, otherwise it can be null and void, even though the rule does not provide any provision for giving any reason also. Is that draconian? Sir, extremely important, I would say. The last paragraph for which I am going to show you one page. If there is any mismatch in 3B and 2A, हर आदमी का, हर business में, हर ना कोई साल में होता ही है. 2A में 1 रुपया है, but I have claimed 3 रुपया. So they are asking me to reverse 2 rupees, right? How can I contest those cases? Second, how can I contest cases where my supplier has defaulted in making payment to the government? अरे मेरे हाथ में थोड़ी, it's a doctrine of impossibility. I can't run pillar to post to catch that person, sit at his office and see the tax which he's collected is actually made payment in his 3B. There is no breakup. I can't see his calculations, right? So in those cases, this credit ledger is being blocked, but you can contest using all of these landmark case laws of Supreme Court, and all these are latest case laws, wherein Suncraft Energy, you would have heard this also, Calcutta High Court, upheld by the Supreme Court on 14th of December 2023, saying, "Arey sir, ho sakta hai the supplier has defaulted, catch the supplier na, initiate investigation, recovery proceeding section 79 against the supplier, but only in exceptional situations, please catch the recipient. Because the recipient has already paid tax to the supplier is not paid to the government, so catch the supplier, he's defaulted it. If you will ask the recipient to again reverse the input tax credit, then it will be a double whammy for him. But in certain exceptional situations, you can ask the recipient to also reverse, such as the supplier is missing, supplier has shut his business, supplier is dead, there is a collusion, fraud between them. So this principle has been upheld in so many case laws here, also doctrine of impossibility. Sir, as I mentioned, I cannot run pillar to post, I don't know, I can't control the actions of my suppliers, right? So these case laws are mentioned, KK Industries, Arise India, DY Bethel. Sir, arrest provisions, we need to know, how do we safeguard ourselves from arrest, what are the bail provisions? So we have, let us understand the basic terminologies of arrest, right? What is cognizable offence under Criminal Act? Cognizable मतलब कि अपनी संगीन अपराध की है. So no warrant is required. Police officer can arrest us in under criminal procedure, right? This non-cognizable, it is not that grave. So he needs a warrant to arrest. Bailable, non-bailable. Bailable offence means what? Sir, if I have done any bailable offence under criminal procedure code, what does it mean? I have automatic right to bail. I will fulfill 4 or 5 conditions under GST Act. For instance, we will take GST Act only. I will fulfill 4 or 5 conditions. I don't even need to be presented before the judicial magistrate in 24 hours. No, I will sit at the department and I will, what first condition? I will give a personal surety or bond from the guarantee from the bank that this is the GST evasion which you are saying 50 lakh rupees, take 50 lakh rupees guarantee. Or as per the facts and circumstances of the case and the financial ability, right? Second thing, area local repute person will again give double surety. Third, I cannot leave India without the permission of the officer. Fourth, I need to be present before the investigating authority whenever he calls me. I fulfill all 4 conditions, write it down, sign it, free and go home. That is bailable offence and they are duty bound. ACDC, they are duty bound to let you free, they can't nab you. But there are non-bailable offences also. What are non-bailable offences? Non-bailable offence means that you won't get bail. No. Non-bailable offence means you have the right to bail, but that right will be decided as per the discretion of the judicial magistrate. Once you are arrested, within 24 hours, you will be presented there. He will see facts. आप बाधा डालोगे कि investigation में, do you have influence? Are you a repeat offender? What is the case? Other whatever, all of those things, and he will decide that whether you can be left or bail will be given, right? Now under GST Act section 69 read with rule section 132 4-5 संगीन अपराध है ऐसे GST में जिसके अंदर में आप अरेस्ट किए जा सकते हैं. We need to understand this concept very nicely because हमारे अंदर में हमेशा एक fear रहता है. अच्छा 2A 3B का mismatch है, can they arrest me? A supplier is not paid tax, can they arrest me? क्या amounts पे arrest कर सकते हैं, default होगा. Let us understand that. Section 69 says if commissioner has reason to believe if you have committed any of the specified offences under section 132 subsection 1 clause A, B, C, D जो next slide में देखेंगे of an amount more than 5 crore rupees. I have done GST evasion of 5 crore rupees, more than 5 crore rupees. I have claimed input tax credit which is on basis of fake invoices, more than 5 crore rupees. Immediately after summons or during inspection, search and seizure, arrest memo can be issued and I can be apprehended and I can be arrested. And that arrest will be non-bailable and cognizable. Means I cannot have automatic right to bail. I will be presented within 24 hours for the discretion of the judicial magistrate and he will decide my bail. In any of these 4 offences which we will see in the next slide, if the GST evasion amount is between 2 crores to 5 crores, so you can still be arrested right then without the issue of show cause notice also. But it is a bailable and non-cognizable offence. Means immediately you can satisfy those conditions and you can go on bail. If GST evasion amount or fraudulent input tax credit is between 1 to 2 crores with any of these 4 specified offences, arrest can happen but after adjudication, prosecution 2 years later, not right now. If GST evasion for any of these matters is less than 1 crore, you do fake invoicing of 1 crore up to 1 crore, you cannot be arrested. You cannot be arrested. Penalty can be there but you cannot be arrested. Even later. What are these 4? Now, this particular, what are these 4 grounds? What are these 4, मतलब कि अपराध क्या है? As per section 132 subsection, I am a kingpin. My driver is the taxpayer. Means GST जिसके नाम पे मैं लिया हूँ. मैं मस्ती से I am running my scam and my bogus entity and all those things. I will not be nabbed because I am not the taxpayer only. But here there was an amendment which was made in the 32nd GST Council. Any person who is a taxpayer or any person who causes to commit, who's the mastermind, kingpin, and retains the benefit, he can also be arrested. Why? In one of these conditions. पहला, sir, कच्चा का सेल कर रही है, invoice issue ही नहीं की है, tally में entry नहीं की है, I've evaded tax. Means issue supply of invoices without supply of goods without issue of invoice. First case. Second case, fake invoice. Issue of invoice without supply of goods, which is happening. Third case, recipient. I have claimed input tax credit fraudulently on the basis of these fake invoices, which is mentioned in section in this clause B. Fourth is government का पैसा मैं लेकर के रखा हूँ. I have collected money from you. I have not paid it to the government for 3 months. बहुत संगीन अपराध है ये 4. और उससे भी संगीन है 5 करोड़ के ऊपर का करो. अगर 5 करोड़ के ऊपर का ये GST evasion और fraudulent input tax credit claiming और government का पैसा मांगना, if it's more than 5 crore rupees, then you can be immediately arrested under non-bailable and cognizable offence. Means आपका judicial magistrate decide करेगा bail. If it is again between 2 to 5 crores, it is bailable and cognizable, but you can be arrested immediately. If it is 1 to 2 crores, later on arrest will happen. Less than 1 crore, no arrest will happen, only penalty. Right? So this is an extremely important slide, which I have already explained all of this. Reasons to believe of the commissioner has to be what? Has to be based on your credible sources. अरे सर लगता है कि वो L1, L2 supplier है, वो ऐसे किया है तो ये ऐसे. No surmises, opinions, no. I want credible evidence. I need statements of 100 people, 500 people. I need a big file of credible evidence. Then only I can issue an arrest memo. I should have reasons to believe. There are Supreme Court cases which I mentioned, Tata Chemical and all that. No rumor, suspicion, gossip. It should be proper evidence you should have. Then the commissioner can issue. Sir, I have 100 pages of evidence. I want to arrest you today. I planned everything. Do I need to show you all those 100 pages at the time of arrest? No. You don't need to show any evidence. You just need to mention the ground of arrest. Sir, which section? Section 132, subsection 1, clause A, B, C, D. इसके अंदर में आपको हम पकड़ रही है. आपने गुड सप्लाई की है, बिल ही नहीं काटा है आपने. 5 करोड़ के ऊपर कैसे किया आप लोग? You have issued, not issued your goods, but you have issued supplies. Means fake invoicing. आपने वो किया 5 करोड़ के ऊपर का. So these cases you have not made payment to the government for more than 3 months. So I will just mention 132(1) clause A, B, C, D, and then I'm going to just write it in the arrest memo and arrest you. There are case laws also which I have mentioned. If there is enough sufficient evidence in the file, no need to mention it in the arrest memo. No need to explain it to the person who's arrested. Save it for the judicial magistrate. Right? Now I've already discussed all this. Reason to believe should be credible. It should be written. Grounds of arrest should not be written too much. In the particular thing. Factors of the arrest, sir. Commissioner has the power to arrest. How? If I know he has committed one of the offences in section 132 subsection 1 clause A, B, C, D, that is fine. I have authorized the officer also, fine. Monetary limits are also fine. All legal compliance is fine. But is there a necessity to arrest him? Sir, arresting a person is a very major thing. It shatters his entire reputation, shatters the entire self-confidence. Whether there is a necessity in addition to the legal compliance to arrest that person. What is necessity? If I don't arrest him today, will he interrupt with the investigation? Will he appear later for summons? Will he tamper with the evidence? Will he intimidate the particular witness? And all those other cases. Whether he is a repeat offender, whether it is a non-bailable offence, means more than 5 crores. All of those details also need to be considered by the commissioner, then issue the arrest memo. Right? In which cases you can't be arrested? Safeguards. Where it is a matter of interpretation of law and when I have really cooperated during summons. Or during investigation, or no evasive reply, proper submission of documents, attended all the summons, everything, you can't apprehend me. Now, arrest memo. What is the arrest memo? Here, as I mentioned, we are going to see this particular instruction number 2, 2022-23. It mentions the format of the arrest memo. We should know this, right? In the arrest memo, there should be a brief ground of arrest or the section invoking, not the entire evidence, no need. You need to mention in the arrest memo that you have explained the grounds of arrest to the person. There is a right of the person arrested to call his friend, wife, relative and to inform that, sir, I am getting arrested, please help me. Whether that has been done, that needs to be noted in the arrest memo. Third thing, you need to give a copy of the arrest memo. There should be DIN. Again, the DIN thing has come. There is no DIN, no arrest. But in most of the cases, they issue an arrest memo immediately with the DIN. They won't let you off. Right? So this particular is the arrest memo, which we can see. Here we can see there is no space to write evidence. Out there it is mentioned, offence specified in clause A, B, A kya hai, which I mentioned. There is no invoice, only supply of goods. B kya hai? There is only issue of invoice, no supply, no actual movement of goods. Third is the claiming of fraudulent ITC. And fourth is government को पैसा नहीं दिए 3 महीना के बाद. Just mention that. जमा तलाशी होगा, मोबाइल फोन निकलेगा, we need to mention, seal that, right? All of those things in the evidence is arrest memo. Bail, as I've already mentioned, regular bail, which is judicial magistrate within 24 hours, non-cognizable case, he is going to particular decide on these factors. The judicial magistrate will decide on these factors: gravity of the offence, repeat offender, any pre-deposit given, or whether he will interrupt in the investigation. If he is a very nice person, no record of any fraudulent case earlier and all that, he can be granted bail, right? Regular bail. Default bail, it's an extremely important safeguard. I have been denied bail by the judicial magistrate, or I could not satisfy any of the bail conditions in billable cases. So I will be arrested, no bail for me. But for how long can I be in jail? Can I be in jail forever? No, 60 days. More than 60 days I cannot be apprehended in the jail without a person, without the police officer or the GST officer here, ECDC, submitting a charge sheet. Charge sheet नहीं बोलते GST law में, क्या बोलते हैं? Private or prosecution complaint. If that complaint is not filed within 60 days, most of the cases is not filed. 61st day default bail, that person can be free. That is his right. Right? Anticipatory bail, extremely important. Sir, I am going for summons 10 days later. I know 5 crores के ऊपर मैंने कुछ किया है, गलती है. They will, after summons, they will issue arrest memo and they will capture me. They will arrest me. So I want to go to the court initially, apply for an anticipatory bail. Is it allowed? So there are case laws which I have mentioned here also, where it has been allowed, it has been rejected also. We've discussed all of these things. Risky exporters. Risky exporters is the last topic. I'll take 15 minutes here, okay. So see, what is risky exporter? Risky exporter means there is a tag, there is no legal term in GST law, risky exporter koi section and all that. No, there is legal backing, but there is no particular terminology in GST law called risky exporter. Risky exporter kya hota hai, sir? There is something called Directorate General of Analytics and Risk Management, DG आम बोलते हैं उसको, और क्या बोलते हैं, DG Systems और RMCC, Risk Management Center of Customs. ये सब क्या है? They see your activities. They see कि आपका L1 immediate supplier, L2, L3, L4 in your supply chain. Who is the person who is doing any fraudulent activity, issuing invoices, no supply of goods? Whether if you are an exporter, whether the HSN of the goods which you have bought is the same HSN which you are selling. How frequently you are buying, how frequently you are selling. They will see in their risk parameters that whether the same customers are there or same suppliers are there. They will see whether there is any case of inflation of export value mentioned in GSTR 13B. Many of us would understand there are two concepts. For the purpose of refund application in section 54, read with rule 89, which is your accumulated ITC refund. What is the export value which we put in statement 3? That is lower of FOB value which is in shipping bill, or the invoice value in the tax invoice. Lower of that. That has become law as per notification 14 2022 dated 5th of July 2022. It has become law. But that is only for the purpose of refund. But actual GSTR 13B में क्या डालना है? FOB डालना है क्या? CIF में किया FOB डाल देंगे? अरे why? अरे actual transaction value section 15 valuation जो rule है, it is not different for domestic supply, different for export supply. No. If you are doing CIF, your insurance, your freight, all of that needs to be included because it's a part of your actual supply. So you are going to mention the actual your transaction value mentioned in your commercial invoice, mentioned in the invoice value in your shipping bill, in your GSTR 1 and 3B. But I am a very unscrupulous person. I want to inflate this so that I can set off more chunk of my input tax credit against it, and when I am making export with payment of tax, I will get more refund. Try to understand what I am saying. Every month refund मिलता है, पता है ना? When we make payment of IGST with export. So what happens is we file shipping bill is stamped. We file GSTR 1, now GSTR 3B also needs to be filed, and we get automatic refund from customs. No GST involvement. Right? So those particular cases, all of those parameters will be seen. Right? Now, क्या cases है sir? All those fraudulent cases only, which I mentioned. Their risk parameters, all of those things are there. They are seeing that you're inflating the value, you're buying from different suppliers, those suppliers have been adjudged to be bogus, all of those things. So they can give you an alert. Who will give the alert? RMCC. The Directorate General of Systems will issue an alert कि risky exporter है. कहाँ पर alert जाएगा? It will go to your Chief Commissioner of Jurisdiction and to the RMCC, that is the Risk Management Center of Customs all over India. आप सिर्फ CC1, CC4 से आप करते हो, यहाँ से हल्दिया क्या कैलकाटा ओवरसीज से आप एक्सपोर्ट करते हो. No, all over India. ED exchange data interface all over India. In all the ports it will be mentioned you are risky exporter. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? 100% examination of all the export consignment before it goes loading. Second thing, that your refunds which are there, which I am mentioning, this payment करके जो refund आता है and all that will be stopped. All that will be stopped by issuing of RFD 07. You will see all that. So cases क्या है, मैंने बोला ये सब cases है. The board thinks that you have, अगर आप refund ले रहे हो accumulated ITC का under rule 89, so you have claimed input tax credit on the basis of fraudulent invoices. माल ही नहीं मिला, export कर रही है, माल ही नहीं मिला from the supplier who is bogus. So you are claiming erroneous fraudulent refunds. वो गलत है. दूसरा है, if you are setting off fraudulent input tax credit against output tax liability on the export, payment of IGST with export. So in that case also it's fraudulent. You are setting off input tax credit which is fraudulently whatever claimed, right, against the output tax liability. Third thing is, as I told you, inflation of export value, right, to get more refund. So these are the cases. Sir, we must be knowing these amendments which I have already mentioned to you. Here, as I have already mentioned this particular part, 100% examination and giving out the alert all over India to all the EDI ports. Now, sir, सिर्फ इतना बुरा नहीं हो सकता है. रिस्की टैग मिल गया है, 100% मेरे को एक्सपोर्ट का कंसाइनमेंट का चेकिंग हो रहा है, रिफंड्स भी सब हो गया है, मतलब कि बंद हो गया है, धंधा कैसे करेंगे, वो सब कुछ नहीं. ऑल दिस कैन ऑल्सो हैपन टू अस. सेम थिंग विच वी हैव डिस्कस्ड विद द लास्ट 2 hours. Summons section 70, inspection inquiry confiscation 67, arrest 69. We've discussed all of these. Provisional attachment of bank account 83. We've discussed this draconian rule, blocking of input tax credit for 1 year. All of these things can happen if you are a risky exporter. Now, sir, whether this risky exporter it has any backing, कि ऐसे मन धड़क ऐसे करे? Yes, sir, it has a backing. Amendment, this notification 14/2022, retrospective from 1st of July. क्या बोलते हैं? In cases where I have reason to believe कि I have to verify the credential of this exporter, or he has purchased from some supplier who has indulged in any fraudulent activity, I will withhold the refund. So this is the particular rule 96 sub rule 4, which it mentions, as per data analysis and parameters, I want to deeply examine the availment of this input tax credit before allowing refund. So in that particular case, withhold the refund. Right now, sir, what happens is the earlier method which used to happen. Risky exporter 14 days से मिलता है as per circular 131 and all for verification of the entire thing. 14 days. Nobody knows this. 14 days, stringent timelines. They are taking 2 years. No verification report. 2 years, 2.5 साल से रिफंड मेरा पड़ा हुआ है. 60 days में रिफंड होना चाहिए from the date of application of RFD 01. But 2 साल से मेरा फंसा हुआ है because they are not submitting the verification report which they are supposed to submit in 14 days. So earlier क्या होता था, कस्टम ऑफिसर के पास में पोर्ट में कहा है, हाउ डू आई नो, हाउ डू आई गेट इन टच विद द कस्टम ऑफिसर, वेयर डू आई सबमिट, हु विल गिव मी द वेरिफिकेशन, हाउ विल आई प्रूव माय केस. Then amendment happened last year on 28th November, extremely important. Here the refund case is transferred from the custom port to my jurisdictional refund officer. I can go there. Ruby में मैं जाऊंगा, मैं यहाँ पर क्लाइव रो में जाऊंगा, I know my refund is there with the officer, I will meet him and I will ask him and request him, sir 14 दिन आपको मिलता है circular 131 के अंदर में, please finish my verification. I am willing to cooperate and give you hundreds of documents. And if he does not cooperate in 14 days, please go to the higher authority or file a writ. We will see the safeguards and all that. But rule क्या है sir? Try to understand. वो refund application of 5 crore rupees which I am getting every month because of payment of IGST with export, which with on the basis of shipping bill and GSTR1, that is stuck for 2 years. But that is transferred to my jurisdictional officer. That entire refund application converted into RFD 01 by the system, IceGate to GSTN. So GSTN now makes a beautiful RFD 01 application as per Rule 89 and Section 54, and it has to give that particular refund in 60 days as per Section 54. Now that particular case he has to verify, do everything, he has to issue it in 60 days. Now it needs to be a full, all of these things need to be there, right? Now what can he do? He can't give you a deficiency memo. Sir, we know deficiency memo RFD 3. कुछ गलती हुआ है, इतना मेजर गलती हुआ है कि वो रिफंड ही खारिज हो जाएगा. Please apply again. He cannot do that because RFD 02 has already been issued. Because the GSTN has converted from IceGate that particular application and made it into an RFD 01. RFD 02 automatically acknowledged मिल गया मेरे को. So RFD 03 cannot be issued. RFD 08 can be issued. Show cause notice can be issued. I am going to ask you for reasons why I should not reject this. Or RFD 06 can also be issued. Now, sir, this amount can be withheld. 100% examination of my export consignments. मेरा ये सब चीज़ हो सकता है. और क्या बुरा हाल हो सकता है? Sir, refund है. Can that be adjusted? Can that be adjusted? Yes, it can be adjusted. Law says, section 54 subsection 10, you have not filed any GST or 3B. Your refund has been transferred. You are a risky exporter. They are not paying your refund for 2 years, it is pending. You have not filed for 1 month, GST or 3B. They will settle. Do best judgment assessment, they will settle. Or any order is pending, they will appropriate the refund amount, right? So here it is, these are particular law which I mentioned. Now what are the safeguards? Safeguards are, see, can registration be invoked? So these are case laws, judicial pronouncements are safeguards. Can registration be, can it be revoked? Cancel कर देंगे क्या हमारा registration कि हम risky exporter है? हम कोई fraudulent आदमी से माल खरीदे हैं कि हम कुछ भी गलत काम किए? No, they can't do that. As per section 29 read with rule 21 of cancellation, कोई rule ही नहीं है, प्रावधान ही नहीं है. प्रावधान क्या क्या है? 10-12 प्रावधान है. 6 महीना तक फाइल नहीं किया 3B, QRMP है 2 क्वार्टर तक फाइल नहीं किया, वॉलंटरी रजिस्ट्रेशन है 6 महीना तक काम स्टार्ट नहीं किया. 1 और 3B में बहुत डिफरेंस है. All of those things are there, so many things. This is not there. So we can obviously have a safeguard. This is a Delhi High Court in Manvi versus UI. You cannot, whatever, there is no provision to revoke your registration. Verification completed, sir. L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L10 तक है. And उसमें से कोई supply chain में L5 है, वो धोखाबाजी किया. But my immediate supplier L1, he is genuine. You have done the verification in 14 days, 14 months also you do. But if you have verified the legitimacy, genuineness of my supplier, immediate supplier L1, please release my refund. Why are you waiting? This particular case law, Choksi Exports, hundreds of case laws are like that. They mentioned if the direct suppliers, they are not suspicious, please release the refund. Am I responsible to check the genuineness of L2, L3, L4, L5, L6? धंधा करे के पीछे भागे? Who are these people? I don't know कौन से स्टेट में है. There is no provision in law where it is mentioned that I have to go and I have to verify my L2. से बोलते हैं ड्यू डिलिजेंस करिए फॉर L1 when you get into the transaction. That is fine. I have done due diligence. He was registered. But in this case, the department is saying, sir, बहुत टाइम लगेगा, 2 साल लगेगा, 6 महीना लगेगा. We cannot commit. We are doing investigation. No. Please, if you verified L1, release the refund. Compensation, extremely important. Sir, सिर्फ refund नहीं चाहिए, ब्याज चाहिए हम लोग के साथ में गलती हुआ है. What does this mean? This means that when the refund from the port is coming to our GST and our jurisdictional officer, it comes 60 days from the date it has been converted into RFD 01. He has to issue refund. Otherwise, there is section 56, extremely important for us as a matter of claiming interest up to 6% on the duration, 6% per year. मतलब 1.5 साल तक 6% तक मेरे को interest चाहिए. And I will file a petition under section 56. I want refund. Not only refund, but I want my interest. And they have, the department has to pay interest. It's a big shame for them that they have to pay interest on the refund also. Same case here, risky tag cannot be forever. आपको ये समझना है, risky tag एक बार आ गया and all that. No, not forever. This risky tag आ गया, it is for 14 days as per the circular 131/1/2020. If they decide after 14 days that no, he's still a risky person, उन लोग alert नहीं देंगे to change it. RMCC has it, DG Systems has it, okay fine. I am convinced that you still are a risky exporter. So, but you need to have a proper trail, sir. You cannot just cry and say that, sir, I am a risky exporter. No, you after 14 days you have to go to your jurisdictional officer. You have to say that, sir, what is the verification report? I have submitted more than 100 documents. Please tell me. He said, I will need time. Go to a superior, additional commissioner, joint commissioner, write letters, make a case. Or if your case is very strong, you say that I have not done any fraudulent activity. Please file a writ. You will get safeguards, right? So RFD 07, which I have mentioned, which is for the withholding of the refund, right? RFD 06 is the sanctioning. So RFD 07 is mostly issued. Sir, we should do all of these things, maintain accurate records. We don't get input on your capital goods. We should extremely important, we should know from 1st of January 2022, this slide, I think this slide, please refer to this slide, one last slide, this one. This second paragraph. From 1st of January, this circular, from 1st of January 2022, retrospective, as sir was saying that we should tell the department and the government that there should not be retrospective effect which is adverse to us. There are so many case laws wherein it has been challenged that how can you do something which is retrospective and which is harmful for me? Because at that point in time when I did that, I did not have any clue that it will turn against me due to retrospective effect in the future. So what does this say? This says that from 1st of January 2022, the refund which we are applying for unutilized input tax credit under rule 89 for export under LUT bond, we have to follow GSTR 2B, not 2A. What does this mean? If the input tax credit is available in 2B, in January 2020, in January 2022, in February 2022, then only we will get credit, refund. We will not get earlier. क्या होता है सर? 2A क्या है? डायनामिक है. डायनामिक का मतलब क्या है? बात समझिए. मेरे जो सप्लायर है उसका उनका है अप्रैल 2022 का उनका बिल है, वो फाइल किया अगला साल में नवंबर में, अक्टूबर में फाइल किए. तो 2A में मेरा कहां पर आएगा? 2A में मेरा आएगा अप्रैल में पिछला साल का. तो मेरा वो रिफंड पीरियड में आ रहा है. आई कैन अप्लाई दैट पर्टिकुलर रिफंड इन दैट पीरियड. 2B अब बोलते हैं 2B मैंडेटरी हो गया. 2B में तो आएगा ही नहीं, आ ही नहीं सकता. 2B में कब आएगा? 2B इट विल कम इन नेक्स्ट ईयर अक्टूबर में. तो क्या 1.5 साल तक बैठे रहे क्या? वी विल नॉट अप्लाई फॉर रिफंड. इट विल गेट टाइम बट इन 2 years. एक्सट्रीमली ड्रैकोनियन एंड दिस बिकम लॉ. 2A 2B एक्सट्रीमली टेक्निकल. But now, अगर 2B में from 1st of January 2022 law has come out, section 16 subsection 2 clause AA read with amended rule 36 sub rule 4, that ये rule बन गया है condition, if your input tax credit is not available in your 2B, you cannot claim in 3B. तो वैसे ही refund के लिए भी कर दी है. 2B में 1st January से अगर 2B में नहीं है, so we cannot claim that particular refund in that tax period. Wait for the supplier to file it whenever he wants to. Wait, then file a cumulative tax return. Your refund for that tax period. Right? So there we can discuss on and on and on and on, with all these cases. But I think we've tried to cover most of it, and we need to understand अपना safeguards क्या बचाव क्या है. बात समझिए. इसमें जितना भी मैं केस क्लॉज मेंशन किया हूँ, recent proceedings जो guidelines जो है, जितना भी चीज़ें, all these are safeguards. अपने बचाव कैसे कर सकते? These are technical things. That is fine. Your CA lawyer would be knowing, but we should have basic information of these things also. The entire intention of this session today was this only कि आप लोगों को पता चले कि आपका legal safeguards क्या, because GST investigation is something which not a lot of people know. Show cause notice और पता है अपने को, scrutiny पता है, ASMT 10, DRC 01, A0B, but these cases we don't know. ठीक है. I open the floor for questions. Please ask me questions if any.
सर समझ जब आता है उसमें सर सब्जेक्ट क्यों लिखा नहीं रहता?
सर देखिए, समन्स में सब्जेक्ट आपका लिखा हुआ नहीं रहेगा, लेकिन आप जब समन्स में जा रहे हो ना, तो आपका राइट है सर वहां पर कि आप उनको पूछ सकते हो कि आप मेरे को पंचनामा दिखाइए, आप मेरे को एविडेंस दिखाइए कि सामने वाला सप्लायर क्या गलत काम किया है. आप रिक्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. जो इंस्पेक्टर है, प्रॉपर ऑफिसर है, वो आपको उनका अपना फाइल खोलते हैं. फाइल खोल करके नोएडा का सप्लायर का L1, L2, L3, जो मेरा अपना कितना सारे केसेस है, L5 का अपने को पंचनामा दिखा रहे हैं. L5 मतलब कि L5 बात समझ में आ रहा है आपको? L5 मतलब कि सप्लायर का सप्लायर का सप्लायर का सप्लायर का सप्लायर. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. उनका वहां पर छापा पड़ा है. वो छापा के बाद में फर्स्ट लेयर जो उनका कस्टमर्स है 200 है. सेकंड लेयर है मतलब कि L3 जो है उसमें वो 200 से 200 का 50 और गया, ऐसे करके एक्सपोनेंशियली 2000 पीपल आर इन्वॉल्व. 20,000, 2 लाख, आपका 2 लाख वाला रेंज पे है. तो आपको क्या उस टाइम दिखाएगा समझ में कि ये आप तो नाम ही नहीं पहचानते, सप्लायर का सप्लायर का सप्लायर, आप क्या बोलेंगे? ये तो इनकरेक्ट आया, यू विल नॉट अटेंड द समन्स. तो एज आई सेड सर, इवन इन द अरेस्ट मेमो दे डू नॉट मेंशन कि आपका ये सब पूरा टैंजिबल एविडेंस है, क्रेडिबल एविडेंस है, बट दे नीड टू हैव इट ऑन द फाइल. आपको पता कैसे चलेगा फाइल में उनका है? आप उनको रिक्वेस्ट कर सकते हो कि सर आप क्या एविडेंस है वो तो दिखाइए तो, कि कौन है सप्लायर, ये क्या है, तभी तो हम रिप्लाई कर पाएंगे. हाउ एल्स विल आई बी एबल टू मेक माय रिकॉन्सिलिएशंस, गिव माय ईवे बिल्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स. Any other question anyone has?
I have just one question. That in a very recent judgment,
Sure.
it has been said that if the supplier has not deposited the tax, the department cannot penalize
Yes, absolutely.
buyer.
Sir, you're talking about.
This is a very recent,
recent
10
this
days back.
Sir, I'm showing you this page. Just this one. This one. Every day something or the other sir comes up. This is exactly what you are saying, and you are absolutely correct. This Suncraft Energy Private Limited, which we are saying, why is this a landmark judgment? Because this has been upheld by the Supreme Court. Many professionals they are saying, if we use this particular reference, the department officer may say, the Supreme Court did not decide to interfere. There were 4-line judgment because the amount is small, 6.5 lakh rupees. So whether it was decided on merit or it was not interfered because of lack of interest, because it was a small amount, nobody knows. But they have upheld it in the sense that they have affirmed that they cannot do this. As sir is saying, that recovery of ITC from buyer should only be in exceptional situations. Which exceptional situation? When you have credible evidence ki there is some fraudulent activity, collusion, the supplier is missing, the supplier has gone bankrupt, he is dead, Also, this is as per press release also. As per on your 4th of May 2018, press release has the weakest legislative pursuance. It is not a notification, it is not a circular, it is not an instruction, it is a press release. Okay, this is not binding on the department also, but it has some persuasive value. What does it say? It says the same thing which is replicated here. Recovery of ITC from buyer means the recipient, who is the innocent recipient, was already made payment of tax in respect of the supplier to the supplier. He should be extracted, the input tax credit reversal should be only done by in exceptional situations. Sir, don't catch the easy target. I am a compliant person. मैं easy हूँ because I am available in my office. मेरे supplier को आप ढूंढो ना. Catch him. Initiate investigation, recovery proceedings. Even after that, if you have not reclaimed that particular पैसा, वो खा करके भाग गया, then please come to me and then I can make payment. These all are, sir, all. This is section 16 subsection 2 clause C. This is one of the conditions to claim input tax credit. There are 6 conditions now. First is invoice होना चाहिए. Section 16 subsection 2 clause 1. Second, माल और सर्विस आना चाहिए. Section 16 subsection 2 clause B. Section 16 subsection 2 clause C is my supplier should make the payment to the supplier, to the government. That is contested. That is contested in so many courts right now, which sir has mentioned. The 4th condition that the recipient should file his GST 3B. 5th condition from 1st of January 2022 is my input tax credit should be available in my 2B and be communicated by the supplier to me in my 2B. And 6th condition is several other rules which are yet to be, means rules are supposed not come out yet as per section 38. So in this particular case, sir, you are absolutely correct. The first easy target should not be me, I should be the last option. But sir, very sadly, in 100 out of 100 cases, we receive an ASMD 10 scrutiny, DRC 01A pre-show cause notice, DRC 01 show cause notice. In our other notices, everything, they ask us to make the payment. 99 out of 100 people, they pay also because it's a small amount. If it's a big amount, then you will contest, as we are contesting for so many clients. So these are the cases which I put in at the appeals. This particular deck, the case laws which I have mentioned here, safeguards I have mentioned here, I charge lakhs and lakhs for that, or the industry charges that. Because these are the case laws which we actually mention in our appeals, in our replies to our show cause notices. These are our safeguards.
Yeah, but again the same thing is there, like the missing seller, business closed down, seller doesn't.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Those
So-
are all beyond the my buyer's.
Exactly. So as sir is saying that it is not my business that the other person due to COVID he has shut his shop. So he will come back to me, he will say, okay, I've done investigation, this is the thing and all that's a contest. I'll tell you the reason why section 16 subsection 2 clause C, which I have mentioned, the constitutional validity means the virus. This is an ultra virus. So the virus, the constitutionality of this condition is being contested before the Supreme Court, it is pending. So now, as sir said, that the appellate tribunal, the GST appellate tribunal, the president has just entered office. So 3 months from the date of entering office or the date of the order, we can apply for appeal in the your appellate tribunal. But let us wait for the Supreme Court judgment. So long, if it is a big amount, appeal, file appeals. And all these case laws will be mentioned. Sir, doctrine of impossibility, this one. A man cannot be compelled to do something which he cannot. How can you expect to go to your supplier's office, sit down there, even if he gives you access of his PDF 3B, कुछ समझ में आएगा? अरे 1 लाख रुपया पेमेंट किया है, उसका 100 कस्टमर है, मेरे से आप 10,000 रुपया लिए, कौन सा 10,000 है वो 1 लाख में? Whether you have it in your pocket or you actually made the payment, where is the breakup? I don't know. There is no means or window available for me to check whether he is actually complied, and this is doctrine of impossibility. All of these things have been mentioned here. Arise India in VAT case and all those.
Maybe he is in the other state.
Sir, he may be next door also. It is not, does not matter. It is not your responsibility. You may file an FIR. That is fine. लेकिन क्या होगा? So long as the department does not initiate the recovery proceeding under section 79, उसका नीलामी नहीं करते और पैसा नहीं निकालते. अच्छा, one more thing which sir said, in case नीलामी कर देते पैसा भी निकाल लेते हैं. They have been compensated, government 2 साल बाद 3 साल बाद they have received money which I have paid him, but in the meantime my audit happened, my show cause notice was happened, me being a compliant person 10-15 हज़ार का था, I have made the payment. I have made the payment to the supplier has eventually made the payment to the government, and I have reversed the credit again, double. I can claim back without any time limit. Rule 37A, extremely important safeguard. अपने क्या करते हैं जब रिवर्स करते हैं, प्लीज डोंट रिवर्स इट यूजिंग DRC 03. नो सर, रिवर्स इट इन टेबल 4B2 ऑफ GSTR 3B, which is temporary reversal. Table 4B2 is temporary reversal. Under which condition? पहला condition कि supplier has not paid to the government, or I have not received invoice, और माल ही नहीं आया, वो महीना में अगला महीना में आया, can't claim. but it has automatically auto-populated in my table 4A5. So I have to remove it now. वो मैंने claim नहीं कर सकते है. But in 2 cases, there is no time limit of section 16 subsection 4. Everyone is talking about 16 subsection 4, which is time limit, time barring of claiming input tax credit, which is the 30th of November of the next year. This case will not apply. If you reverse, if you come to know that sir, ये supplier ने payment नहीं किया है, check column 18 of your GSTR 2A before 30th of September of the next year. आप देखते हो no लिखा हुआ है, means GSTR 3B has been filed by supplier. No, immediately reverse your input tax credit in table 4B2 in your October return before 30th of November. You don't have to pay even interest. And when the supplier after 2 years they are nabbed and you get information that money has been extracted, claim it back in table 4A5 and report it in table 4D1. No time limit of 16.4. This is section 37, rule 37A. You can write it down. This is an extremely important safeguard. Or you can even apply for refund also.
Well, Ishan, thank you so much. In fact, we have exceeded our time,
Yes, sir.
big time. We'll take few questions. Just one question that about the risky exporter.
Yes, sir, yes.
There are many instances, and we in FIEO also get complaints that some exporters have been termed as risky exporters and they are just not being able to get out of that terminology.
Sir,
No matter what.
So in that particular case, as I mentioned, sir has a very good point, and this is actually the truth. 1.5 साल तक टैग पड़ा हुआ है, कुछ नहीं हटा है, रिफंड ही नहीं मिला सर 2 साल तक. What should we do? Sir, these safeguards which I mentioned, this particular circular, this circular 131/2020 has strict timelines, have been fixed for the authorities to take up the matter. 14 days. If the concerned officer does not take a decision of verification whether this tag needs to be removed, RMCC से हटाना है, ADI से सब हटाना है, within 14 days, a petition before the principal chief commissioner or chief commissioner of central tax shall be filed. And if such petition is filed, a decision mandatorily should be taken within 7 working days. And still this does not happen. You have all the evidence, your letters, go to the court, high court. This is actually a plaguing disputed case. Nobody cares in the department. As I told you, draconian blocking of input tax credit rule 86 से कोई show cause notice कुछ नहीं. This is not an order, by the way. ये कोई जो which sir has mentioned, risky exporter, it's not an order. ये कोई parallel proceeding नहीं है. Proceeding happens in section 74. ये वाला 3-4 चीज साथ में चल रहा है. Officer initiated proceeding under section 74. What fraudulent refund I have taken? 5 years from the due date of 9. पहला proceeding, दूसरा proceeding, refund, withhold. तीसरा proceeding, all my exports, no seamless export, all 100% examination. चौथा चीज, this particular risky tag, risky exporter tag is there. 4-5 things. अंधा कैसे करेंगे? So please fight these cases. Risky exporter है वो ठीक है, parallelly वो चलाते रहिए आप, लेकिन साथ में please fight this case, show cause notice and please prove that sir, many cases this is a non-fraudulent case and tendency to delay by the officer. Please prove it to him that I am a genuine case. My L1, L2, L3, L4, I don't care. My transaction, I have all these details. I have not inflated my export value. I don't have any shell company. I have not conducted any fraudulent activity. Proof करना पड़ेगा. You'll have to.
Ishan, we'll take 2 questions and think we are on time now. 2 questions.
हेलो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू. आपने बहुत अच्छा और बहुत सिंपल साधारण भाषा में अपना प्रेजेंटेशन दिया. माय क्वेश्चन इज कि अगर IGST रिफंड अटक जाए, जैसे कि मेरे केस में हुआ है और अभी भी चल रहा है, तो अभी तक रिफंड नहीं मिला. It was due to a technical glitch.
I understand.
कि PFMS में रिजेक्टेड.
सर देखिए, PFMS बात समझिए.
एक सेकंड, PFMS रिजेक्शन वाला ठीक हो गया, महीनों से चल रहा है. अब फिर वो बोले कि सर PFMS वाला इशू सॉल्व हो गया बट वैलिडेट नहीं हुआ है. अब फिर आ गया कि वैलिडेट भी हो गया लेकिन फिर भी रिफंड नहीं आ रहा है. अब बोलो सिर्फ हम आइसगेट में केस ओपन कर दें, फिर वो क्लोज हो जाता है, फिर ओपन करते हैं, फिर वो क्लोज हो जाता है.
सर देखिए, आई अंडरस्टैंड दिस. ये वाला जो चीज़ है, आपका जो स्क्रोल है, जो रिफंड का जो स्क्रोल होता है, जो पर्टिकुलर जो RFD 6 जो बोलते हैं, RFD 5 जो बोलते हैं, दिस यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स एंड एक्सपोर्टिंग, उसी का बात कर रहे हैं ना. तो इसमें क्या है सर कि आपका कोई रिस्की एक्सपोर्टर का टैग है, आपको कोई वेरिफिकेशन है, कुछ नहीं.
बात कि मेरे को सब मिल गया लेकिन एक पर्टिकुलर मंथ का वो पेंडिंग है.
आपका अगर PFMS तक आ गया है ना, तो आपका कोई पहले का कोई मुद्दा ही नहीं है कि आपका FOB वैल्यू से वो कम है, बेसी है, ये है, वो सब कोई मुद्दा ही नहीं।
उन्होंने राइटिंग में भी दिया कि वो टेक्निकल ग्लिच था।
टेक्निकल ग्लिच है। व्हाट हैपेंस PFMS, द रिफंड्स गो इन बैचेस। आपका अकेला रिफंड नहीं जाता, 25-30 जन का रिफंड जाता। अभी 2-3 साल पहले when 21 बैंक्स नेशनलाइज्ड एंड दे मर्ज्ड, IFSC कोड का इतना इश्यूज हो रहा था, फॉर 3-4 मंथ्स नो रिफंड्स, और सब PFMS में रिजेक्ट हो रहा था, बिकॉज जो आपका पुराना जो यूको बैंक है एक्सेट्रा, उसका तो IFSC है ही नहीं, एंड दे हैड नॉट मर्ज्ड इट, तो PFMS में वो सब हो रहा था। अभी व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड कि आपका एक तो ऑफिस होता है वहां पर, कि जो आपका जुरिस्डिक्शनल ऑफिस में आप देखेंगे पे अकाउंट्स ऐसे करके, SBO ऑफिस पे अकाउंट्स ऐसे करके होता है, रूबी में शायद 2nd-3rd फ्लोर में है। अब वहां पर जाकर के आप बात कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज दे अगेन एंड अगेन जब रिजेक्ट होता है PFMS में, इट कम्स बैक टू योर पर्टिकुलर आइस गेट, राइट, देन इट गोज बाय। अब ये तो आपका आइस गेट का है, तो आपका GST हेल्प नहीं करेगा। ये आपको आइस गेट में यू विल हैव टू पुट अप अ पर्टिकुलर, यू नो, आप ट्विटर में लिखिए और यू विल हैव टू गेट इन टच विद देम, आपका जो पर्टिकुलर इसमें, बिकॉज देखिए ये टेक्निकल आपका बैक वाला चीज है, तो इसमें आप कुछ चीज, मतलब हाउ कैन यू डू दैट? आपको तो ये कॉल करके यू विल हैव टू पुट इन अ पर्टिकुलर रेज अ ग्रीवियंस, एंड देन आप उसमें देख सकते हो।
ग्रीवेंस कर दिया, अभी भी आज भी एक मेल है कि आपका केस क्लोज कर रहे हैं, हम लोग की तरफ से रिजॉल्व।
सर विजिट द पोर्ट, आप वहां पर जाकर के कस्टम ऑफिसर से बात करें,
कस्टम ऑफिसर से बात।
क्योंकि वो देखिए GST इन्वॉल्व ही नहीं है, बात समझिए। आई टेल यू, आप ये ऑफिस जाइए और उसका सब गलत है। आपका जो एक्सपोर्ट आप जो किए विद पेमेंट और टैक्स, वो तो GST डिपार्टमेंट देखता ही नहीं है सर, वो तो सिर्फ आपका स्टैंप होता है GST शिपिंग बिल में, GSTR 1 से इनवॉइसेस मैच होता है, 3B फाइल हुआ है क्या नहीं हुआ, एज पर रूल 96 सब रूल 1, 2, 3, 4, उसके हिसाब से GST इन्वॉल्व नहीं होता। GST इन्वॉल्व होता है रिस्की एक्सपोर्टर का जो केस में जो ट्रांसफर हो जाता है। आपका PFMS तक अगर पहुंच गया है और बार बार रिजेक्ट हो रहा है, आइस गेट में जा रहा है, तो आपको पोर्ट में जाना पड़ेगा, ऑफिसर से बात करना पड़ेगा। GST डिपार्टमेंट कुछ हेल्प नहीं कर सकती।
और एक चीज पूछना चाहूंगा कि जैसे कि जो हम लोग ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस सुनते हैं, तो ये ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, इतना सब कुछ सुनने के बाद, ये ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस फ्रॉम द व्यू पॉइंट ऑफ द बिजनेसमैन है या फ्रॉम द व्यू पॉइंट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट?
You are absolutely right. On the ground reality, this is ease of doing business. I should not use business. Ease of doing administrative work of the department.
Right.
बट जो गाइडलाइंस इशू किए हैं, दे एक्चुअली रिमूव्ड अ लॉट ऑफ आर्बिट्रेरीनेस। जैसे मैं आपको ये सब बोला, रिट्रैक्ट करिए, आप पैसा पेमेंट कर दीजिए, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर से करिए इन इन्वेस्टिगेशन, बट रिट्रैक्ट करिए, दोज आर सेफगार्ड्स। तो ये सब जो केस लॉज आए, GST लॉ इज वेरी न्यू, आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, 7 साल हुए। ये सब जो सर बोल रहे हैं, जैसे सर बोले अभी कि 3B वो पेमेंट, वो सप्लायर ने फाइल नहीं किया, पेमेंट नहीं किया, आए दिन कुछ ना कुछ अपना हाई कोर्ट का आ रहा है, लेकिन ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड सर, देयर हैज बीन नो नोटिफिकेशन फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट एट द एजुडिकेशन लेवल, दे आर गोइंग टू रिजेक्ट दैट, यू विल हैव टू गो इनटू अपील कि सप्लायर्स का गलती, सप्लायर ने फाइल नहीं किया 3B, अभी तक कोई भी छोड़ रहा नहीं है, सुपरिंटेंडेंट लेवल पे, ACDC लेवल पे, आपका कमिश्नर अपील लेवल पे भी नहीं छोड़ रहा है। आप वेट करेंगे जब अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल जब स्टार्ट होएगा, 3 महीना में फाइल करेंगे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कुछ आएगा सर, उसके बाद में भी नहीं छोड़ेगा। ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड मोहित मिनरल केस, we all would be knowing we are exporters, right? क्या है, if we are importing, right, on your CIF basis, we don't have to pay RCM again because we are making payment in IGST at the port. We don't have to make again 5% payment on the transportation freight, right, for your import. ये मोहित मिनरल्स बोले for CIF imports you don't have to make payment under RCM of 5% again because you're already making payment during the at the port. ये चीज हुए हुए कब हो गया था? दिस केम आउट ऑन अराउंड इन May 25 अराउंड 2022। रिफंड्स करोड़ों का पैसा उन लोग जो वॉलंटरीली पेमेंट किए हैं 5% RCM का, और जो IGST का भी पेमेंट किए पोर्ट में होता तो बिल ऑफ एंट्री करने के लिए करते हैं, बट वी हैव मेड पेमेंट, हैव वी गॉट रिफंड्स? वी हैव नॉट गॉट रिफंड्स फॉर दोस, क्योंकि कोई नोटिफिकेशन ही नहीं निकला है डिपार्टमेंट से। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का केस लॉ आ गया है। अभी तो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि ये जो अल्ट्रा वायरस है आप जो बोल रहे हो एक्सेट्रा एंड ऑल दैट, तो अभी तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट का केस ही नहीं आया है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का केस लॉ आने के बाद में भी नो नोटिफिकेशन हैज बीन इशूड, डिपार्टमेंट इज नॉट गिविंग बैक दैट रिफंड। 2, 3, 4, 5 साल हो गए, करोड़ों रुपए पड़े हुए।
Well, I agree to you that ease of doing business अभी नहीं है, but definitely GST is a good act.
Oh, it will definitely
in years to come this should ease out. One last question and then we'll close this discussion. Anybody?
One point, actually this risky exporter is not good for our business actually.
It is not good at all, sir.
Tarnishes our reputation.
Definitely. So more than reputation, sir, working capital. Try to understand, na, your refunds, you don't get refunds. Refunds तो is the bloodline of your working capital, ना. Refund का मतलब क्या हुआ? Refund का मतलब हुआ कि today you make payment on export by using your ITC and your cash ledger. ITC आप जो use कर रहे हो तो you have paid someone, ना. So that is supposed to be refunded. वही पैसा फंस रहा है, so that becomes your cost or opportunity cost for that long. First thing. Second thing is, if ये refund जो है, if RFD 07 is issued, and they sit on it for 1.5 years, 2 years, what will happen, sir? They're not going to remove that. Each time you will export, आपको तो demerit charge लग जाएगा 3 दिन के बाद में. 100% आपका एग्जामिनेशन हो रहा है, you'll have to, it is an additional cost, definitely sir. और ये चीज आपको you'll have to contest using all of these things, circular which I mentioned and all that. But sir, try to understand these guidelines, strict timelines, they are discretionary, which I mentioned in the circular. That's why sir, they're taking this to an extent of 1.5, 2 years and all those things. But sir, try to understand, we are caught as non-fraudulent people, but majorly it is for fraudulent people, people in crores who do frauds, right? DJRAM, DG systems, RMCC, all of those are for that, risk analysis.
They need to differentiate.
Sir, it's very thin line. You will have to differentiate, prove your case. They will not. They will see everyone in the same boat. You will have to prove and immediately go to your jurisdictional office and say that, sir, I have, please, verification report 14 days, where? File a writ, go to the senior officers, prove your case.
Well, thank you, Ishan. It was wonderful, although we were a little scared when you started off whether you'll be arrested and so and so. But I'm really happy that you also told us that what are our rights and the ways of looking at things. And it's definitely a very, very difficult scenario at times. And some kind of awareness has come into us that how we can defend ourselves and protect ourselves if such situation does come into our day-to-day business. Thank you so much, Ishan. It's been a wonderful idea, and if anybody has any particular problem, they can directly connect with Ishan. I think he'll distribute his card to you all if you really want to. Thank you, Ishan.
Thank you.
It was wonderful getting to hear.
Thank you for everyone's patience.